Hello, good evening, happy Sunday, everyone. It's quite a chilly day this evening. It's quite cold, that's why I'm wearing a sweater for once. Um, how's everyone doing? Well, apart from the announcement that the tariff for online drivers apparently has been increased, effective today. Hola, 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 boo boo. Hello, boo boo. Hello, boo boo. Let's see. As always, I already have some articles lined up. This time, I hope I've done it properly, unlike when I was covering the new fuel subsidy, where it turns out if you copy the link to OneNote, there's a different line. If you want to copy the link instead of making a new page that corresponds to the link, it's weird. I don't understand why OneNote works that way. But hopefully this time I've done it properly. Got myself a cup of tea to keep myself warm, because again, it's really cold, especially over the past few days. It's because of the rainy season, no doubt. Let me put on some music. Uno momento. Backing tracks. Nope, not that. Yeah, let's do that really quickly. Should pop up on the thingy, right? Where's my OBS? Oh, it's not doing it properly though. For some reason? No. There you go. Should do it properly now. No? Still no? Swear to God. Oh wait, no, it does. Okay. I think this is going to be a pretty short stream because I don't really have a lot to go through. It's mostly from this guy, Arif Nofianto. He's a researcher from UGM. Oops. I mute myself. Yeah, there you go. Arif Nofianto, a researcher from UGM. He's been making the rounds, talking about the hardship that these online drivers go through, whether it is from the ride-hailing apps like Gojek, Grab, but also if they send food or if they're online couriers like Shopee, and there's also even for couriers for Cepat and GNA is like the UPS equivalent, I guess. And yeah, apparently, damn, like when you look at their base rates and whatnot, it's quite appalling, and it's really understandable that these drivers go out and protest to fight for their rights for livable wage, or not even livable. It's like a shred of decency at this point, because so talking about Arif Nofianto again, I watched his presentation in this seminar at Emancipate Talk. Let me see if they've uploaded. Let's see if they've uploaded the thingy. It's Emancipate Indonesia. Damn, they only have 11 subscribers. Come on, man. Oh, then again, the last time they've uploaded was 3 years ago. This is their... Wait, what? Hello? There you are. Yeah, this is the channel. They once had a seminar covering this particular topic, which really popped off, I have to say, in terms of the content itself. They had people like Arif Novianto, but aside from him was also Nabila Iza and someone from, like, a representative from Lala Move, which is a new courier service provider that I've never heard before. See if I can find that. So this is Lala Move. It's an Asia-based technology company that provides delivery services by connecting users with delivery drivers. And I didn't know about them. I don't think they're as well known compared to Grab and Gojek primarily, but also like Cepat, and there's also Ninja Express for the more non-conventional delivery service for couriers, for packages and whatnot. Because, like, I mean, the most conventional one would be JNA or our postal service, which I don't think people even use nowadays. Yeah. And in that talk, in that seminar, Arif basically presented his study about the average income of these drivers. He conducted a survey, and as it turns out, during the pandemic, where people assume that the income of these drivers would increase from, you know, people ordering food and whatnot, turns out it still fell down dramatically. Like, the amount of increased orders from food deliveries was not enough to compensate for the drop in you know, like, what would it be called? Like transportation? Like a taxi, quote unquote, something like that. Transportation driver stuff, and yeah, and even leading up to the end of the pandemic, end quote unquote, like in 2021, the income still did not increase. It didn't rebound to 2019 levels. And there are plenty of factors that go into this. Of course, one of the most predominant one is the fact that there are more drivers now, and also which means like more competition, people fighting for the same pool of customers that has reached their saturation point, I guess. Because like apps like Gojek and Grab, they're very ubiquitous at this point that everyone has them, everyone uses them as well. So there's not exactly a lot of growth, specifically when it comes to the Java area and probably Sumatra. I'm not sure what's the user distribution between islands and territories. Last time I heard, and this is like 4 years ago, they're still trying to push boundaries and push for the usage of their apps in Sulawesi and Kalimantan. I'm not sure how successful it was, but yeah, so saturation in the Java region, but also apparently they lowered the base rate as well for these drivers, and that's really fucked up in a lot of ways. Because like even when you discount the pay cut, their income's already dropping due to the increased number of users, and I know that a lot of people like they tend, like when you say like, oh, these drivers, they're not really making much, but then they still hold on to this past notion when the app was still in its inception, was that, oh, if you become a Gojek driver, you'll earn more than the minimum wage. But the fact is, well, that's not the case, that it has dropped due to those aforementioned factors. And if anything, like their income is now below the minimum wage, and they have, even if they work for 11 hours or something, I believe that was what was stated in the study. Maybe we'll go through that. I'm not sure. Maybe he will cite it in one of his in one of the articles that we're going to read that involves him. But also, I think the top top it off, at the end we'll watch his conversation at this podcast called Benang Merah. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't be using my base account. Hang on. Oh, by the way, I've already bought the Lil Artur. Hi, hello. What was I going to say? Oh, by the way, I've decided to get YouTube Premium finally after so long, and I use it for my base account, like my private account. Sorry. Oop. Oh God, my cat. Hang on, I think my cat just dropped something. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Where was I? It seems that my cat, they want to go out. Right, I was about to say that to top it off, I think we're gonna watch a conversation in this podcast called Benang Merah, again with Arif Novianto and these two people. I don't know, I forgot their names. One of them is where's the about? Ben Laksana and Rara Sekar. Yeah. Give them a follow. I think they've done a couple of interesting content. Like, they talk about the palm oil industry, and there's also Sindikasi. Sindikasi, I think it's kind of a community for people working in the creative space, creative industry. They're like the union, I suppose, for I forgot what's the term. It's contract worker, something like that. But yeah. And also they've actually done an interview with Gapatma. Here it is, episode 13, which is a worker co-op. And I've listened to the episode. It's quite interesting. Feel free to give it a listen. But for this episode, for this segment, we'll watch this one, conversation with Arif. But we'll do that later. I guess without a further ado, let's start with the articles that I want to go through. Starting with the announcement itself from this. I guess I'm gonna cite Tirto for this one. So starting today, the tariff has increased. And now I'm trying to, I've already skimmed through the article, and there are bits and pieces that I'm a bit confused about. And I already have the regulation as well over here, like the ministerial decree on the decision itself of increasing the rate. But okay, hang on. So the Ministry of Transportation, at least that's what I think. Hang on, let me make sure. I think it's supposed to be Ministry of Transportation, right? Hold on, don't do that. Yeah, it's transportation. No? Communication? Nah, here we go. That's the official translation. Has announced that there will be a tariff adjustment for online drivers effective on Sunday, today at midnight. The adjustment will be split into 3 zones based on the agreement with the platforms. This is in accordance with their agreements with the platforms. So this is the regulation, the Ministerial Decree number 564/2022, which was ratified in the 4th of August of 2022, which is interesting. Like, why did it take so long for the decision to be implemented? Which I guess we'll get to, because there was actually an announcement around last week. Yeah, I have the article as well that announced that the Ministry of Transportation decided to delay the tariff adjustments. And this is quite aligned. It happened in line with the plan to increase our fuel prices, which is odd. Because, well, I mean, if you don't adjust the tariff, what's going to happen to the drivers? They would get paid even less than they already are. So the tariff adjustments is for minimum tariff and also the per kilometer range for transportation services, online transportation services, specifically for motorcycles. So not for, hang on, okay, let's catalog this. Let me split that. Come on. Yeah, there you go. Starting with Tirto. Okay, maybe we need to split that with something else. Tirto. Whoop, 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 whoop. Tirto article. Ministerial decree to be effective. Ratified. Right on the 4th of August. So, why did it take so long? I think we'll read the regulation on what was stipulated. Because like I understand that it must take time after the regulation was ratified for the platforms to then adjust their financial thingies. But 1 month is way too long, honestly. Tariff adjustment only applicable transportation services, line transport services for two-wheel vehicles. So why not for cars as well? Because I imagine like the burden of the fuel price increase will also affect those drivers. In the regulation, it is also explained that there are like 3 zones. Zone 1 covers Sumatra, Bali, and Java outside of Jabodetabek. There's Zone 2 that covers Jabodetabek. Okay, cool. And Zone 3 that covers Kalimantan, Sulawesi, Nusa Tenggara, and Maluku and Papua. Okay. Interesting to see these zoning laws, specifically how it excludes Jabodetabek. Like I would imagine they're quite comparable to Java and Sumatra, and Bali, of course. I mean, sure, it's the center of business activities, but still, it's a bit odd that. Okay, zoning. We got Zone 1, which includes Sumatra, Bali, and Java, excluding Jabodetabek. Zone 2, Jabodetabek. And Zone 3, we got Kalimantan, Sulawesi, Nusa Tenggara, Maluku, and Papua. Do they actually have Gojek in Sumba and Labuan Bajo? That's interesting. I mean, I don't know. Like the last time that I visited Sumba was early 2020, and I don't think I've ever seen any Gojeks roaming around. Sorry. So for zone 1, scroll down a bit. We got the base rate. Sorry, is that the... Yeah, base... No. Biaya jasa batas atas. Okay, lower limit. 1,850 per kilometer. And upper limit at 2,300 per kilometer. That's low. Hang on. So does that mean... Because... Okay. Let's wait. Upper limit and biaya jasa minimal. Minimum service rate with surface range? Okay, we definitely need to read the regulation. I have no idea what these mean. Or does this apply to what we pay as customers? Maybe that's what it is. I wonder. 5K per kilometer. Okay, before we move on, maybe it would be useful if we actually read the regulation. Okay. Wait, what? Can't I? Oh, come on. It's only it's a 9-page thing. Why can't I just... Alright. Biaya jasa sudah mendapati potongan biaya tidak langsung berupa biaya sewa. Okay. So definitions. Service rate. That's a serviceable pun intended translation, right? Service rate including app rent costs, I guess. Minimum service rate minimum costs for customers 5 kilometer max. Okay. Right, these are the scope. What? Okay, there's appendix 2 that we need to read for the upper limit and the lower limit. Okay, I think point 8 is one of the most important points. App rent costs. Sorry, max app rent costs is 20%. I think the number was lowered to 15%. This should be... Oh, this is the commission. Right. Including app commission. Let's call it that. I think that's a more intuitive translation. It's guarantee, should be evaluated every year. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. And now this is an interesting point here. Platform companies must adjust their rates within 10 days. 10 days from 4th of August. 10 working days, I guess. For August, that means, let's see, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 1 week. So 16th then. So yeah, there was definitely a delay. Quite a long one as well. Okay, so let's read Appendix 2 real quickly. Biaya jasa minimal tentang biaya jasa. Oh, this is for, okay, it's for talking about the customer. So it's different per region. Is it 11,500? Or does this refer to what? Does this exclude the app commission? Because I don't think I've ever seen 11,500 before. So this is Java, right? And I think our base rate is around 11K? Wait, not 11K. Just out of curiosity, let's check. So I'm opening Grab. Grab bike. Let's go to someplace close. It's 13K. Well, wait. No, this is the new rate. Okay, we need to check the news article again. So I'm in zone 1. I'm in Bandung. So the range is between 9,250 to 11,500. If the... Wait, does it talk about the 15% thing? Oh, it doesn't. Damn. Because I think that's one of the main things that Arif mentioned. Hang on. Let me see if I can find... Oh, it's here. Wait. So it's 13,200, right? If I could just quickly... Okay. Let's open a calculator. So we got 13,200. But then the max is 11,500. Shit, I think it's easier to type it in an Excel. Hang on. I don't have the mental capacity to do it on the fly. My brain too small for this. So it's 13,200 and the range is from, and the max is 11,500 and the rate is 11,015. Oh, it's not refreshing. Fuck you. So multiply by 115. Yeah, there you go. I see. Yeah, I guess that makes sense now. That is around, now it's at 15%, because like initially if it's at 0.2, wait, sorry, 250, it's 13,800. That's also an odd number. I don't think I've ever seen that. Maybe it used to be 13K or 13,500. I don't know, man. It's weird. But anywho, don't save. Let's keep going. So for zone 2, so like based on that basic calculation, I think they've opted for the upper limit, which is 11,500. And I think it also supports the theory that it excludes the app commission. So from that means it's 13,200. That means they get 500, 1,500, 1,700 for per kilometer, I think. But then how does that differ to this then? Why is there a lower limit and upper limit for these? Where does the rest of the money go? I don't understand. All right, zone 2. Let's see. We got 2.6. Fuck you. 2.6 per kilometer. And upper limit of 2.7k. And then range for customers 13 to 13.5 per kilometer. Is it per kilometer? Why doesn't it say per kilometer? I guess we can. Let's refer to the regulation here. Yeah, it doesn't say per kilometer either. Okay, let's remember. Biaya jasa minimal dengan rentang biaya jasa. What does it mean? Yang harus dibayar penumpang untuk jarak tempuh. Oh, okay. So at 5 kilometers, they should at least pay 13,000. Okay. Or is it for the first 5 kilometers they only pay that much? Feels a bit vague. Anywho. Let's keep going. Oh, that's it, huh? Biaya jasa penggunaan dengan aplikasi. Okay. All right. What is biaya jasa then? Hang on. Okay, so that excludes the app commission. I'm still not sure how it works exactly. Feels a bit weird, if I'm gonna be honest. Anything else? Okay, Grab. Okay, nothing else. Ministry of Transportation, Public Affairs from Grab Indonesia will comply. Okay. Furthermore, Grab will implement the tariff according to the time set by the government, which is true. I guess the tariff did change just now. Because I've never seen that odd number, 13,200. Like, what the fuck? Okay. Okay, this reiterates the content of the regulation, the per zone and whatnot. Okay, let's read one more. So the rate increased by 250 per kilometer for those that are in Jabodetabek. Is there a comparison to how it was before though? Because I think I saw a post from Arif again. He mentioned that actually the base rate has been decreased. But then all of the articles seems to say that the tariff has been increased. Okay, so the Writers Association were satisfied. Okay. I guess that's the first article. It's a bit too bright, isn't it? Hang on. Is that better? Yeah. It's not as exhausting to the eye. So apparently this is not the old regulation. There's an article from Conde talking about how this tariff change could affect small women-led small businesses. I guess we can read that later. Oh, apparently did they mention this, that lower commissioned but higher tariff? Let's see if that sticks. Oh, no, fuck, forgot that it has so many ads. This has been released. There's a couple of changes, one of which is the... Wait, I have the same... It's 564, right? Yeah. Oh, okay, it's different. Maybe there hasn't been any new... Hang on. How come they didn't cite the thing, the regulation? So this is 564. Okay, let's open this then. Nothing new beyond this date. I think they haven't ratified it. Like okay, let's see. 564. Oh, there's a new one here. Oh, this is 564. Okay. Oh, an amendment. Okay, what's the amendment? Where can I download it? Is this? Oh, jeez, that's bright. Can I download it? Okay, there you go. Download. How is it different? It's only 4 pages. I guess it only refer to the specific change. Oh, they extended the deadline. All right. So to answer this, apparently there was a deadline extension as per, what is it? What number? Ministerial Decree number 580. For how long? 25 days. Okay, it's the 25 days. Okay. Fair enough. I guess that explains. But that's it though. There's no mention about the 15% decision. Hopefully they'll put it into something, into a legal document. So this is a good thing. 15%, that's a good thing. Because 20% is pretty high. Considering that one, like essentially the app, they control the rate. So it's not exactly, the thing about these ride-hailing apps, they don't follow the conventional, conventional attributes or form of gig economy, of gig workers, right? Because like usually when it comes to gig workers, when they work through a platform, they have the independence, the freedom to set their own rate, to define their own worth. Like say, when you compare it to say Shopee or Tokopedia, the retailers, they get to determine their own prices. It's not set by the platform, not by Shopee or Tokopedia. It's different when it comes to these apps, which I find a bit weird. Like, why do they not allow these drivers to determine their own rates? Because then it doesn't really become, they don't really fall under the definition of gig workers. I guess this is one of the reasons why that some people have like legally speaking, they're more like independent contractors instead of partners. So the whole thing about like these platforms calling their drivers business partners, they're not. They're really not. Of course, this excludes the the restaurants, the cafes that post that advertise their products on these platforms. Those are different cases. They do get to decide their prices, but not these drivers though. These drivers, they don't get to decide their prices, their rates. So yeah, hence the whole debacle. I think like given that the drivers were able to determine their own rates, that would have been nice instead of leaving it to the algorithm, let's say, which is of course like prone to bias depending on the apps, the platform providers, the platform companies. I don't really understand how it reached that decision. So yeah, like I don't know, like when it comes to these online platforms, whenever they say they're business partners, I tend to be very skeptical. Like, to what extent exactly are they your business partner, or are they merely a means to an end? And yeah. So that's it, 20% to 15%. Nothing about rates. Oh, I should have looked at. Oh, wait. Perhubungan. Yeah, let's open this again. Because I do want to know about. So this is the amendment, and this is this, right? And is this like the first regulation that they've made? Let's see. Okay, we need to find this one then. 348. Can we find a number directly? Okay, there we go. So this is the second change from 2019. This is the old regulation. Let me download it real quickly. Let me put it in the right folder. Gig workers. Old tariff. What is this again? 348. Wait, no. 2022, right. One moment, let me download it. Cool. So here we are. Oop, 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 oop. Okay, still loading. I'm surprised they have. Okay, cool. That's good. It's a bit laggy though. Very laggy. So what's the difference? So it used to be 100. Wait, this is the same. Only this one is different. Instead of 7,000 to 10,000, at least for zone 1, it's 9,000 to 11.5. I guess that's it, huh? And if you order to go to some place that is 5 kilometers from you, that still costs more than... God. There's a skill issue here that I don't understand the interpretation of these regulation. Does it used to be 10k? Boo Boo, I think you use Gojek more than I do. Is it 10k per kilometer? Like for the base rate for the first kilometer, is it 10k? I think so. Yeah, and in Jakarta is 12k, and it's been increased to 13k. Or 13 and a half. But now I'm just confused. Like, what do these mean? Like, what do they represent exactly? And who gets this amount? Does this refer to the? No, this is. I don't know, man. I don't know. I am confused. So this already takes into account the app commission. It's like... Hey. I don't know. Oh well. Moving on. So we get the previous regulation. And that's it. So where did the claim come from about the... Wait. When did this come out? 7th September. It's different compared to this one. When did this come out? This is the 10th of March. Oh god, I'm using an outdated article. Fuck. I'm sorry. Wait. This should be the more accurate one. Oh, it's different. It's different to the regulation. Yeah. See? Like... Okay, so the lower limit has been increased. But the whole range thingy has not. Huh. Interesting. Okay. How come this one still uses the same... This one says this. 9,000 to 11,500. In here, it says that it's until 10,000. Here's the thing about new stuff going on. There's bound to be inconsistencies. And this is the perfect example. Anywho, I mentioned about that this decision was actually delayed initially. This is the article from Detik. It was cited by Arif again. So in here it says that the delay was in consideration of what's been like the current trend. It's not what's going on. It's like in here it's saying that the current trend in society, but really it's about the bottom line of these platform companies. It has nothing to do with that, honestly. Let's see what their justification is. So the Ministry of Transportation claimed that they will filter and they will consider the aspirations of all stakeholders in the online transportation industry. The delay is necessary to get inputs and reassess. That's it? No other explanation, huh? Such a cop-out. That's sad. No wonder there were tons of protests. Ay. Let's start with this article then to talk about the protests. As in English. There you go. Thank you. No. Oh, come on. I thought there would be a direct translation here or something. And there you go. It's from Arif. Hello, Arif. So the protest was done by online drivers, whether it's couriers that are categorized as partners. I think this is where Arif talks about his study. So he did a survey. No. He cataloged 71 protests from online drivers since March 2020, when the pandemic started, until March 2022. In total, there has been 133,000 online drivers involved in the protests in various cities in Indonesia. Compared to previous protests that targets legalization towards some regulations, the main issue was about tariff and incentives. It has a lot of impact on the drivers. Meanwhile, drivers' income will affect their condition, sure. A couple of researchers have shown that the lower the tariff, the more vulnerable they become. The more vulnerable their work conditions become. This is because drivers have to work longer hours and harder in order to get more income. Well, adequate income to meet their basic needs. True. So let's see what they cited here. Oh, is it from his own study? Oh, there's a... Right, I think they launched the book. Okay, let's wait for it to load. Let's see. Yeah, I think he mentioned this in the Man's to Talk seminar. These are only tags. It's free! Oh. I guess we can give it a read. Let's see. Oh, they already had a discussion about it. Cool. Let me open a separate tab. Game.id. Buku. Gig. See if we can get an excerpt of that book. Hey, didn't say how to download it though. Oh well, that's fine. Anyway, I've shown that, blah blah blah. Set effects cool, yep, of course. I joined 44 social media groups. It's a very grassroots approach, I guess, in a way. Very primary source centric, in a way. And conducted a number of interviews to measure and track the protest activities and sort out their demands. The result shows that the competition between platforms to lower the tariffs in order to get more consumers, have exposed these drivers to vulnerability and incite protests. So the protest has been going on since 2020. As platforms such as Gojek and Grab lowered the incentive schemes for drivers, like I've mentioned. Low tariffs have triggered increased and protest activities from online drivers in an attempt to combat vulnerability. If that's the right word to say, vulnerability. Drivers have launched 24 protests that involve 22,000 people in 16 municipalities and municipalities across March to December 2020. That's like insane. Like during the pandemic, they decided to lower the incentive scheme. Like, why? Who are you trying to protect exactly in this case? Fuck me. In 2021, it was escalated to 28 actions, different to 2020. It is more focused towards livable tariff, adequate tariffs. Oh, so initially it was about the incentive schemes, like the bonus. I think I made a presentation about this, citing Arif again, mentioning that. Oh yeah. It was a huge thing. It was the bonus scheme, where initially the bonus scheme was kind of like a flat rate, like for the first. No, wait. No. It was more like flat, as in if you get 5 orders, that means you get X amount of bonus. Whereas in the new scheme, it is for each orders you get a certain amount of bonus. And like intuitively you would think that, oh, that means that more drivers will get more bonus, right? Because that means you don't have to meet that minimum threshold. But as it turns out, when you actually look at the numbers, it's nearly like 50% lower compared to the initial bonus. Like you would think that when you consider how the app has grown within each passing year, that they would increase the bonus or at least maintain it at the same rate, even if they make it more generous for more drivers. And yet they decided to cut it down. So clearly they're not rewarding the dedication of their partners. So showing yet again how fucked up they are. It's like, shit. Anyway, the methods that they've engaged with are strikes. I think we've seen quite a lot of that. And I do hope, and luckily, at least from my circle, I don't think I've ever seen anyone from my circle complaining about the protests whenever they see, oh, they're going on strike, and our response are mostly like, oh, okay, like, sure, you know, like we don't really push back against it or show any common duress or whatnot. Let's see. They actually barricaded the platform companies. That's interesting. Although I doubt it's the actual Gojek tower or something. They've made petitions and they went to government offices as well. In 2021, 68% of the protests, 19 actions were conducted fighting for adequate tariffs. Good on them. It's good to see that they've been able to organize essentially and fight under one banner. I imagine that in the process, it's almost like it's very organic. It's very grassroots, like in their group chats where they would share their their plight or hotspots, like say, and then but as they share their, oh my god, my income has been dropping and orders have plummeted or stuff like that, when they share those stuff, and then other people would chime in, and then they realize that, oh my god, we're actually faced against the same problem, and then suddenly they unify, they unite under one banner, under one voice, and fight for their rights, and that's great. Like it's beautiful to see stuff like this happen. It's unfortunate that they have to fight for them in the first place, but you know, it's interesting to see, like specifically for blue collar workers, it's easier to see them like group together and fight for their rights like this. Like I don't see these tendencies among white collar workers. Like they're only there for themselves. It's like, it's quite sad, honestly. Meanwhile, in 2022, when the pandemic has started to subside, to go down, the protest has actually been increasing. Okay, even in the first quarter, January to March 2022, there's been 19 actions involving 64,000 drivers. As you see, like the numbers begin to grow. Like I imagine, like groups, like group chats begin to merge and become larger, and then they consolidate their aspirations, and like, damn. I think Arif also made another article in this thing called it's called Nose from Below, and the name of the article was Wildcat Strikes, something like that. Hang on, let me try to find that. It's actually very interesting. Notes from Below and Wildcat Strikes. Notes from Below, yes. It talks about, let's see. This is one of them. I don't think this is the most. Is this the most? I think this is the most recent one. Yeah, here you go. The Wildcat Strike season is currently underway in Indonesia. This is also a pretty good article. It talks about kind of like this thing, but it also covers other stuff here. It's a great article to go through. Anyway. So the drivers come from platforms like Gojek, Grab, Maxim, which is interesting. I rarely see Maxim going around, at least compared to the incumbents like Gojek and Grab. I do see Shopee Food every now and then, especially since Shopee Food offers a lot of discounts. Although I doubt that they're as mainstream as Gojek and Grab. And apparently there used to be Traveloka Eats. Initially they wanted to branch off to that as well, food delivery, but they've there's been plans that they wanted to close it. So you know. And specific to Shopee Food, I think Arif mentioned that there's been a unilateral decision. Hang on. It's one of the protests thing. But I'm gonna times out of low tariff for online drivers. This is the research gate, yeah. Here you go. Shopee Express protest. This is from Twitter. Go away. How was it? They went on strike in Bekasi. So they lowered the tariff from 2,200 per package to 2,000 per package. That's crazy. Like, per package, 2,000. And they also removed the incentive. God. Batam did the same. And today, Shopee Express management rejected to meet the demands of the couriers. Like, I don't know, man. It's really sad seeing these things. Anywho, so I guess that's... I wasn't talking to Google. I wasn't talking to you, Google.
First, you had to unlock your device.
Why would I want to unlock the device? Okay. So we've covered the Tirto regulation, covered the thingy. Tariff adjustment delayed. Also, Shopee Express protest. And there's also this from, speaking of protests though. So, not Shopee, but this time it's from Cepat. So they went on strike, not just from the couriers, but also the sorting companies. Yeah, like this is the the what was it? Clipboard, I guess, saying sorters are also humans. But then it was followed by mass layoff. I think one. Oh, this happened in Surabaya. Never mind. I thought that it's like, I think I ordered something recently that happened to use Cepat, and it took a while to arrive. Oh god, they only get paid. Okay, so poor working condition and low wages are also experienced by drivers who deliver packages between provinces. Okay, among them, some of them are only paid 670K per month again, and works more than 8 hours a day. More than 8 hours a day, and only 670 per month. Driving long range from one province to another. It's like, holy shit. It's just crazy, you know? Like, my god. Okay, so the pandemic is not the main cause of the vulnerability. The pandemic has opened all sorts of vulnerability for the online drivers. As an informal worker, classified as independent contractors, the vulnerability happens because online drivers don't get a lot of rights that formal workers do, like minimum wage, social protection, and facilities that are borne by the company, paid leave, adequate work hours like 40 hours per week, and job security. Because yeah, they're independent contractors. Essentially, they rent the app. So yeah, they don't have any obligation to protect these workers, because they are workers by the end of the day. Because again, like, they don't have the independence to determine their own rates and whatnot. So fuck no, they're not. They should not be classified as gig workers at all. Prior to the pandemic, blah blah, but this is not that much of a problem because their income tends to be pretty big. What is this site? Okay. Also from Arif Novianto, oh my god, he's been making a lot of articles. So cool. Let's see. Oh, this is referencing this. So initially their income was around this. This is per day they would get around 500K, 600K even here. Damn. But then it dropped significantly all the way, like, especially for the car drivers, to 100K per day. Holy shit. That's like, what? It's like 600% drop, right? Yeah. Somewhere around that. entering the pandemic, which like, okay, fine. But then even as we reach, well, I mean, July 2020, I guess that's still pretty deep into the pandemic. That's why it's kind of flattened over here. Okay. So initially, prior to pandemic, their income used to be pretty good, even twice the minimum wage. That income is probably because of the honeymoon phase and how these platform companies, burn money and all that. The pandemic turns out only affects the one that handles transportation, like from one location to another, whereas food deliveries increased by 183%. Apart from that, package deliveries have increased, has skyrocketed in online stores, up to 400% during the earlier stage of pandemic. After the incentives has been reduced to nearly none, the amount of tariff was also decreased. Oh my god. Gojek and Grab argued that the tariffs were lowered to drivers as an attempt to attract more consumers using their services compared to other platforms. Right. The reason that we lowered the rates, getting a bit pissed, is so that you can get more orders. Fuck off. The tariff decrease started in October 2021. For instance, for GoFood in Yogyakarta, from 7,200 per kilometer for the base rate, it was lowered to 6,400. My guy, holy shit. Not long after, Grab also did the same for their drivers in February 2022 from 7,200, same as Gojek, to 6,400, same as Gojek again. Sure, the cheapest one is Maxim, which is 4,000 per kilometer. 4,000 for 0 to 4 kilometers. My god. This race to the bottom also happened in package deliveries. Lalamove, again, like a pretty new company that I've never heard before. In January 2021, it was lowered from 8,000 to 6,400, which was followed again by Gojek, Grab, and Borzo. This isn't even another one that I've never heard before. A study for Gojek drivers in the package delivery showed that the tariff, with 2,000 per kilometer tariff, they could not get adequate and proper working condition. Of course, absolutely. Fundamentally speaking, the income that these drivers receive consists of three forms. There is the tariff, which is determined by the government and the platform companies. There are incentives, which is within the authority of the platform companies, and consumer tips. So there are two regulations, okay. For online drivers, there are two regulations. One is for the transportation stuff. Another one is for package delivery, package and food delivery. Oh, okay. Now this is another interesting point. I don't understand why for package delivery, it's regulated by the Ministry of Communication. What do they have to do with this? Why is it not regulated under Ministry of Transportation as well? Is it because it also includes postal services? But even then, why? It's odd. I do find this odd. and this hasn't been repealed. There hasn't been any. Yeah, it's still valid to this day. Shit. Damn. Blah blah blah. Yeah, here it says that we leave it up to the market mechanism. Fuck. Again, as always, the Ministry of Communications showing their incompetence. This decision could lead to a race to the bottom, which has already been exemplified. And in the midst of increasing prices of basic goods and fuel in Indonesia over the past 2 years, low tariffs and lack of incentive could lead to the deterioration of the prosperity of these online drivers. That's why we need proper tariffs. Of the protests that has happened from March 2020 to March 2022, so within the past 2 years, there's only been 11 actions, 11 protests, 15%, where their demands has been granted. Even though they tend to be pretty micro, like free parking in several places and punctual payment. Wait, so usually there's been delays? Holy shit. Meanwhile, for macro stuff, like adequate tariffs, better working conditions, and clarity for driver classifications, they haven't reached any breakthroughs. Instead of responding to the drivers, the government has actually allowed these injustices to prolong. Meanwhile, for platform companies, in the name of trying to win the competition with their competitors and get more profit, which they haven't to this day, mind you, instead they push the drivers into more vulnerable conditions. In the midst of low tariffs and injustices experienced by the drivers, then the policy should side the drivers. It is essential to do so, without which then the vulnerability would only exacerbate over time, and it could only lead to larger scale protest, which, yeah, I'm all for that, you know? And it's really sad. Like, it shows such a huge discrepancy between what these partners are going through compared to their white collar workers, because they went all out trying to acquire talent for their company, for their financial management, I guess, in a way, or their marketing team. Even they get paid like a huge amount of money, especially when you enter like middle management, so to say. Like, it's very competitive, like very, very competitive, that it appeals to people that don't have any background in marketing or finance. And they do acquire these people nonetheless, because, well, depending on where they've worked, I guess. And yet, here we are. Because they know that these online drivers are more dispensable, then it's easier for them to basically, well, fuck you then, we don't care. To kick them to the curb. My God. Anyway, good article. You can give this a read. This came out in April 2022. There's also this one. In 2021, no union is a problem. Pretty good article as well. Talks about the strikes as well. It mentions about how organic the growth was from one group chat to another and stuff like that. I think the highlight is about the when they changed the incentive scheme. But it leads up to how, because they're wildcat strikes, that's why they tend to be pretty small scale. They don't really cause a lot of ruckus. They don't really get the news coverage compared to, say, a mass strike, general strike. But nowadays, I think, like, with people like Arif and also like people who care, because I believe in the because he was also interviewed in, let's see, conversation ID Indonesia. There's also this one. I think this is in reference to the article that we've just read. And here you go. That's Arif again. Talks about that. What? Why did I call it a conversation? It's like it's immediately linked to these type of accounts. Anyway, okay. So there's that. And wait, what was I talking about? Yeah, hopefully as they during that conversation, right? During that conversation, Arif hinted that the accounts now have diversified, so it's not just about the day-to-day operation stuff, but also they have a specific group for unionizing purposes, for union purposes. So that's good. They've become more organized. Hopefully, we'll see more breakthroughs in the future. Because, like, I feel bad, you know, like, I feel terrible knowing that, like, I use their services a lot. Well, not a lot. I don't really go out much, so that's a lie. But I do order food every now and then. And the fact that the new regulation does not exactly affect the couriers and the food deliveries, it's sad. It's and knowing that they've lowered the rates again and again. Like I know that at a small scale you can always try to donate, like tip the drivers, but that's not enough, and it's never really a good idea to hinge one's well-being to another's altruism, because it depends on their mood, right? Whereas, like, if you enforce it to say regulations for minimum rates and whatnot, like what the Ministry of Transportation has done, then everyone is obliged to do it. They must do it. And I know that some people have been saying that, oh, if you increase the rate, they will only reduce the number of consumers who use these services. My brother in Christ. People will still use it nonetheless. Because I think it's been like, what, 5 years or something since the inception of this this occupation, this industry, online drivers, that people are far too dependent on them to not use them. So I think, like, the bargaining power is, we've reached a point far beyond the need to further suppress the well-being of these drivers, especially when you consider the fact, like, again, when you look at the rates of the middle management and whatnot, they get paid a huge amount of money. Like, with 5 years experience, let's say, you get 40 million a month. 40 million. What the fuck? And you can't pay your fucking drivers? Bullshit. Like, honestly, just... I don't know. Anyway. So we've read that it's been delayed. We've read the conversation article. What is this one? Like, it's crazy, you know? Because then, like, when they're not being listened, it reaches a point where they start doing insane shit like stitching their mouths. I don't think I can show this. Okay, here's one from Tribune. So, hang on. So, protesting against the government, these online drivers have decided to do... Well, they decided to stitch their mouths at the Ministry of Transportation today, which was last year, July... Well, no. Last month, 2 months ago. My apologies. 27 July 2022. So, the Alliance... strangely called BOM. BOM. They protested in front of the Ministry of Transportation office on Wednesday. In that action, during the protest, a number of drivers have stitched their mouths. It's not a figure of speech. They literally did that. There were 5 drivers who were willing to do it. It was done because they were simply tired with how the government has been very ignorant to the well-being of these online drivers. They've conducted multiple meetings with the Ministry of Transportation. They have sent letters multiple times, protested numerous times. We were hopeless, so we'll just focus on these 5 people who will stitch their mouth. Apart from that, they're like there'll be masses securing the action. This action is to demand the consistency from the Ministry of Finance in implementing the Ministerial Regulation number 12 and the Ministerial Decree 548/2020. They include evaluating the tariff for online drivers. Yeah. I think it was mentioned like in the regulation that we read just now that they were to evaluate it per year. As living costs increase, so the tariff needs to be adjusted accordingly. Yeah, here it says so right here. The tariffs or adequate incomes should be revised at max once per year. Meanwhile, the last adjustment or last evaluation was done in the early 2020. This is despite the fact that on the 5th of January 2022, a number of Alliance of online drivers have conducted protests in front of the Ministry of Transportation and has been promised that it will be realized. And yet, to this day, there's been no follow through. We've calculated on the percentage of the increase. We've also sent letters. They've actually conducted a calculation with the Ministry of Transportation. So they know, they already have the information about it. We consider them negligent in doing their job. Damn. This is one of the people. I guess this one is fine. So in here it says that the Ministry of Transportation actually approached the masses. Oh, so initially they wanted to protest in front of the Ministry of Transportation office, but sadly it was blocked by the police. So that's why they moved to Patung Kuda. Patung Kuda is... Oh, it's this one. It's Yeah, it's Central Jakarta as well. Anyway, doesn't really matter. And according to IDN Times, they've started together since 2:30. Not long after, they started to do. They started stitching their mouth in front of the ambulance, so they were monitored by professionals, health professionals, thankfully. Tens of people observed the thing. Police were also monitored to be within the premises. What the fuck? Oh, come on. Ads? Are you kidding me? And it's not even playing. Go. Motherfucker. Are you done? Are you done? Are you done? Are you done? Oh my god, if you click away, it stops. Okay, it doesn't. Okay, cool. Oh, it does stop. Just go away. Go. What? Yeah, now what? Are you done? Jesus! Disgusting. Ew. What the fuck is this website? Okay, sorry. I'm getting really pissed. Turns out there's something worse than Compass in terms of how they present their ads. Oh no, something is playing. Is it this one? Okay. Lol, oh my god, IDN Times. I know, like, Jesus. So negotiation was heated at one point. That one with the police, blah blah. Around 4:30, a representative from the Ministry of Transportation approached the masses, and they promised that they would evaluate the tariff for online drivers. Maximum 2 weeks, exactly 12th of August, which is 2 days before they announced the amendment. And the amendment only include that the platforms will get a deadline extension. So no, nothing about the tariff evaluation. Nothing about these platform companies being coerced into implementing it as soon as possible. If they don't meet the demands, there will be further protests, larger protests. And they will do something even crazier than just stitching their mouths. The Ministry of Transportation will evaluate the tariffs. They tell the drivers to be patient. Fuck off. Okay. A lot of bullshit, essentially. Hey. What else do we have? That's done. Don't think I want to read the paper right now. That's done as well. Times, that's one that's done as well. Tribune as well. Alright, I guess that leaves us with this then. Okay. I think I'm gonna take a quick break. To get a breather as well. It's been pretty intense, like looking at the article. Especially from the conversation article. That one was pretty emotional. I don't know. I guess it's kind of builds up towards it. Reading how the hardship that these people have to go through. Like, holy shit. Fuck. I'll be right back, okay? Hi. Okay, I'm back. I'm surprised to see the tweet that I made about what is it, Bandung's angkot thing, still getting engagement. It was very it's very interesting that sometimes even the most straightforward tweets that are self-explanatory, that doesn't really require the most extensive thinking process, they still get a ton of likes. Have you been listening to the same songs over and over again? No, right? Oh my god, we have! Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that. That explains. Oh. We've been listening to the same 3 songs over and over and over again. Damn. I was too caught up with the articles that I didn't even realize that. Anyway, okay, so to end the stream, as the final thing that we're going to watch, we're be doing, and we won't be listening to the music anymore, honestly. So that doesn't even matter. But we'll be watching this interview with Benang Merah, again with, what are their names again? Ben Laksana and Rara Sekar. So let's see. Put it on full screen. All right. Hey, sync. Aw.
Halo semuanya, selamat datang kembali di Benang Merah. Sudah lama sekali tidak berjumpa. Hari ini kita ada
tamu dan juga ada soundscape.
dari ada soundscape yang nggak beres-beres.
Jadi di antara semua hari yang ada di dunia ini, tiba-tiba bisa aja ya tetangga motong kayu dan nggak tahu nih melakukan kegiatan-kegiatan
noise
ya.
Noise. Mungkin ada acara noise festival.
Noise ya, noise bombing. Harus di hari ini pas kita mau ngobrol-ngobrol soal ojol. Kayaknya emang udah dikirim ya?
Iya, kayaknya emang ada beberapa pihak yang nggak ingin kita membicarakan hari ini.
Kesejahteraan ojol ya?
Kesejahteraan ojol ya. Tapi justru itu temanya sangat penting hari ini dan sayang sekali kalau bisa terlewatkan gitu ya.
Emang tema hari ini apa tuh?
Sebenarnya kurang tahu ya. Jadi sebenarnya kita hari ini bakal ngomongin tentang ojol, tapi spesifiknya lagi adalah tentang kesejahteraan dan para pekerja, kondisi kerja ojol itu sendiri gitu, seperti apa. Tentunya kita nggak akan spesifik ojolnya yang mana gitu, kita akan
semua
menggunakan
mungkin mirip-mirip ya.
Iya, mirip-mirip, tapi ojol lah intinya gitu.
Dan kita ada kehadiran seorang tamu asik yang langsung hadir sendiri lagi ke sini.
Langsung datang ke sini.
Iya, menggunakan ojol.
Menggunakan ojol kawan saya jadi.
Kawan ya.
Eksploitasi kawan sih.
Iya. Ojol dari Gunung Kidul ya. Sini ada Mas Arif Novianto.
Yeay.
Halo.
Halo semua.
Halo semua.
Halo. Mungkin sebelum kita memulai, Mas Arif bisa perkenalkan saya apa sih, ngapain sih gitu.
Ya, terima kasih untuk Mas Ben dan Mbak Rara. Saya Arif Novianto, bisa dipanggil Arif. Saat ini bekerja di IGPA, MAP UGM, semacam pusat kajian lah di Visipol UGM. Dan memang sejak 2020 kami fokus riset tentang persoalan kondisi kerja, kesejahteraan pengemudi ojek online terutama. Seperti itu.
Is it loud enough?
Berapa tahun meneliti tentang ojek online?
Sudah 2 tahunan ini.
Oke, 2 tahunan. Kalau sebelumnya
Think so.
meneliti apa biasanya?
Kalau sebelumnya kita riset tentang persoalan gerakan sosial, pertama gerakan petani, atau kemudian persoalan birokrasi dan yang lain. Kemudian fokus ke ojol sejak 2020.
Kenapa ada transisi ini? Kayak lagi bertani tiba-tiba lihat ojol menarik juga nih atau?
I guess it's only the fact that they're using lavalier mics and they have to drown out the noise in the background, as they've mentioned in the intro, that it kind of muffles their audio. So I guess that's why.
Ya, karena waktu itu kan kita buat diskusi tentang kondisi kerja pengemudi online di Jogja. Dan kemudian kita dihadapkan juga dengan cerita-cerita adanya persoalan eksploitasi, jam kerja yang panjang. Nah, itu yang membuat kita akhirnya tertarik. Itu pula dengan pengalaman pribadi saya juga. Ketika menggunakan ojol, ketika saya tanya, bagaimana Bang bayarannya? Mas, bagaimana? Mereka ya merasa, oh ini masih semakin sulit Mas, semakin dicekik. Itu yang membuat kami akhirnya tertarik. Apa sih kondisi sebenarnya, realitas sebenarnya seperti apa sih? Apakah memang benar-benar dieksploitasi? Kalau dieksploitasi caranya gimana sih? Nah, itu yang membuat kita akhirnya fokus untuk melakukan penelitian.
Nah, itu
pertanyaannya udah bagus.
Bagus sekali.
Mulai dari situ.
Langsung dijawab.
Langsung aja dijawab sendiri.
Senang deh kalau wawancara peneliti ya. Udah ada research question ya.
Tapi itu penting sih. Jadi akhirnya mungkin bisa kita mulai hari ini juga tentang kondisi pekerja pengemudi ojol tuh saat ini seperti apa sih?
Pengemudi ojol.
Pengemudi.
Ya,
Benar kan ya?
Iya. Ojol lah.
Ya ojol. Bukan pengendara. Pengendara mah nggak ada hak kerja. Mereka
pengemudi.
Pengemudi ya.
Ya, kalau terkait kondisi kerjanya memang sebagaimana hasil penelitian kami juga kan menunjukkan bahwa dari tahun ke tahun terus mengalami tren yang penurunan. Baik itu penurunan pendapatan, karena juga insentif atau bayaran bagi mereka semakin hari juga semakin dikurangin. Nah, itu yang membuat
Again, like just to reiterate the point that I've mentioned before, it's ludicrous to me that as the app grow, their pay only decrease over time and their incentives gets cut further as well. It's like it's mind-boggling, right? Like you would imagine that as the company grow larger and larger, that means you would get to enjoy it even more, but it's not the case this time. And it's like, so when you talk about startups, like usually they would the person that gets backstab is quote unquote backstab here are the customers, right? They get spoiled by the promotions and whatnot, the discounts, because they got fresh money from their investors, the companies that is. So that's why they could afford these fragrant, I don't know if that's even the right word for it, but those huge discounts. But in this case, their business partners also gets the sharp end of the stick. Their business partners, quote unquote, again, which thankfully, even articles have started to mention them not as business partners, but as independent contractors. Like they already start to caught on with their little fuckery here. So yeah. So again, I find it really disgusting that instead of increasing the rates of these drivers, they press them down. Fuck.
But akhirnya mereka ya seiring pendapatan yang berkurang, di sisi yang lain waktu kerja mereka akhirnya lebih panjang sebagai upaya untuk mencari peluang agar ada potensi dan pendapatan yang lain gitu. Ini yang tren yang dari hari-hari seperti itu yang akhirnya membuat mereka semakin rentan, semakin dalam tanda kutip semakin tereksploitasi lah.
And like knowing the fact that they're increasingly exploited, like it really provides context in a way, or more like it makes me more empathetical to their condition. Like even before knowing the hardship that they have to go through, like just thinking about that these people have to drive around the entire day on their own with little to no social interaction with people they know. And they only have us, the passengers, to talk to when they work. Like as someone who works in a pretty in a condition where I'm pretty alienated or atomized, where I'm just hooked up in front of a screen and don't interact with other people for the most part, that sucks already. And compared to them, like holy shit. And that's why like whenever I see people complaining about drivers who try to create conversation and they consider it to be offensive and or borderline disgusted, it's like they're humans. There are humans driving you. Like holy shit. It frustrates me sometimes. I mean, yeah, sure, there are times when I myself am too tired to deal with other people to talk with me. But if that's the case, then tell them. Don't just begrudgingly respond to them or dismissively respond to them. And of course, like even when you say no, hey, I'm sorry, I've had a long day. Would it be okay if you don't talk throughout the journey? Simple, right? Again, treat them like humans. They're not just fucking machines. We don't have driverless cars yet. Unfortunately yet. Well, fortunately, I guess depending on how you think about it, they're still humans driving you. Treat them like one.
Padahal mungkin bisa dibilang awal mulanya masuk bisa dibilang ini ya, ride hailing ya, apa sih namanya? App.
Ride hailing apps.
Bahasa Indonesia itu apa ya?
Ya, Ojol itu
aplikasi Ojol itu kan
aplikasi manggil.
Iya. Aneh ya, memanggil pengemudi ya. Itu dianggap sebagai kayak kesempatan baru gitu ya, dan juga kesempatan baru untuk memperoleh pekerjaan dan penghidupan gitu untuk banyak orang yang mungkin dulunya kerja-kerja informal juga kan. So, aku ingat banget di awal-awal Ojol itu ada, semua ceritanya mirip-mirip, mereka senang, terus ternyata besar juga ya mbak gitu, penghasilannya bisa sampai nyicil mobil, nyicil motor baru, nyicil rumah. Jadi itu memang masih ada sih sebenarnya diskusi-diskusi seperti itu kalau kita nggak wawancara sih, ngobrol aja sih sama supir-supir ojol. Cuman gimana tuh kira-kira mas dari awalnya mungkin seperti itu semacam selebrasi gitu ya, terus sekarang bisa dibilang aksi aja udah 71 kali dalam rentang 2 tahun gitu. Apa sih yang terjadi sebenarnya gitu?
Mungkin bisa kasih pelajaran histori singkat gitu tentang
timeline
ojol.
Karena mungkin penonton juga ngerti mengikuti, tapi ada juga yang nggak mengikuti gitu. Nah, toke sudah
berarti udah ning.
Wah, langsung
ning.
Tapi langsung tokenya remix. Toke.
Iya. Nah, memang kalau terkait ojek online ini kan mulai marak kan 2015 kan. Dan memang ketika itu apa yang disampaikan Mbak Rara tadi bahwa pendapatan mereka tinggi, bisa cicil rumah, kendaraan, memang terjadi waktu itu. Karena mereka dalam satu hari yang roda 2 dia bisa menghasilkan sampai 400.000.
Wow.
Sampai itu di Jogja. Bandingkan dengan UMR Jogja yang waktu itu ya sekitar 1.500.000-an.
Oh, belum kan terlalu naik sih.
Okay. Nah, itu yang membuat, karena itu masih era disebut sebagai era bakar-bakar uang.
Oh, nah era bakar uang tuh apa, mungkin ada pendengar atau
Now, like again, it's odd when you hear like burning money. The promotions are usually targeted towards the customers. So it will be interesting to hear how this affects the drivers exactly. Does that mean that they were able to afford higher rates for the drivers? But now, as the money starts to dry up, they press them down, and they lower the incentive schemes, which again, it's really fucked up for them to do that when you consider the fact that they've started to grow and whatnot, and like prices of like living costs, they don't decrease, they increase. And when you consider the fact that the drop of the rates have, or their income even as well, reached a point where it's not even viable to sustain their lives, it's, while at the same time, again, like I mentioned, when you look at the white collar workers, the amount that they get paid, don't you find it a bit suspicious that they're essentially their front line, the one that like the backbone of their company, don't get supported properly? It's vile.
Bakar uang siapa dari mana?
Nah, itu.
Nah, itu kan bagian dari strategi bisnis ya, strategi bisnis dari perusahaan platform terutama yang startup untuk memperluas pangsa pasarnya, untuk memperluas, menarik minat pengemudi yang sebelumnya nggak tahu ini ojol ini apaan sih. Akhirnya mereka tertarik dengan iming-iming pendapatan yang tinggi tadi, insentif yang tinggi tadi. Begitu pula konsumen yang sebelumnya nggak mau pakai apa nih, pakai install aplikasi apa ini. Akhirnya mereka menginstal karena ada promo apa, update makanan gratis, atau diskon 50%, diskon 60%. Akhirnya mereka masuk ke situlah, sehingga di satu sisi mereka memang rugi karena harus membakar uang ngasih itu, tapi di sisi lain valuasi mereka akan naik tinggi karena kemudian total transaksi akan meningkat pesat, dan itulah kemudian yang membuat contoh apa realnya dari apa bisnis usaha Gojek namanya ya, itu kan modal awalnya kan hanya sekitar 15 miliar. Itu tahun 2010 sebelum pakai aplikasi. Pakai aplikasi tahun 2015, dan sekarang sudah, ketika apalagi udah merger dengan Tokopedia, udah hampir 300 triliun. Hanya kurang dalam waktu 15 tahun. Nah, ini yang dibalik strategi bakar uang tadi. Tapi kalau kita lihat realitasnya kan strategi bakar uang kan tidak berlangsung lama. Karena hanya berlangsung ya sekitar 5 tahun. Karena tidak mungkin perusahaan ingin rugi terus. Ketika mereka sudah memonopoli, sudah menguasai pangsa pasar, mereka perlahan mengurangi itu. Nah, itulah yang membuat kesejahteraan ojol akhirnya turun. Yang sebelumnya bisa nyicil rumah, sekarang buat makan keseharian aja udah susah.
Dan tadi uangnya dari mana tuh yang dibakar?
Ya, kalau uangnya biasanya dari investor, kan ada pendanaan seri pertama, seri kedua, dan lain sebagainya.
Biasanya venture capitalist itu ya?
Ya, finansial kapitalisme.
Yang tentunya nggak akan ada lagi kan? Biasanya itu di awal, atau itu akan bisa disuntik terus-menerus?
Hanya di awal, karena kan tujuan itu kan untuk menguasai pasar.
Itu jadi.
Well, technically, like usually they would offer packages. So they have the initial package, but then if they reach a certain target, past a certain point, then they get even more money to grow even further. They're like there are terms usually that comes with it, but yeah, at one point, like, hey, come on, we want to see our return, and yeah, it's like, that's why, like, even from the start, like when I know that these companies are essentially supported by VC money, venture capitalist money, I just had a strong feeling that they're going to be a bubble, essentially. Like eventually they're going to pop and everything's just going to go insane. But well, we'll see. I mean, now we already have initially was the Bitcoin bubble and the NFT stuff that started to plummet. And then now we have the Russia-Ukraine conflict going on. So I don't know, maybe that kind of prolong the eventual crisis that would come from these online platforms. I mean, you already kind of get a sense of that when there were waves of mass layoffs. Yeah, I think we kind of saw that, like the precursor to it. I don't know. I'll admit that it's pretty slow. I'm not entirely sure, like the scale of it exactly. But yeah, if you follow accounts like e-commerce, for instance, e-commerce, MURZ, they monitor these type of things like, oh, this company just received this fund from that company, or this company just laid off this X amount of employees. They're implementing hiring freeze or stuff like that. It's worth monitoring, considering that they're a pretty significant section of our economy, right? Sorry, blanked out there.
Menguasai pasar dulu yang penting. Pas itu kemudian ya kita lihat nanti lah yang lainnya.
Wait and see.
Ya, makanya kan strategi itu kan banyak yang gagal. Hampir 90% atau berapa dalam studi itu. Tapi mereka yang berhasil itu kan bisa menanggulangi atau mengisi kerugian yang lain-lainnya. Yang kesuksesan hanya sekitar 1 atau 2 atau 10%.
Dengar-dengar Uber di Amerika aja baru untung akhir-akhir ini ya, setelah beberapa tahun.
Uber masih ada?
Uber masih ada di US gitu. Dan mereka kalau nggak salah baru untung setahun terakhir, 2 tahun, setahun terakhir kayaknya, setelah bertahun-tahun mereka membakar uang dan merugi terus gitu ya.
Ya, setelah itu, setelah kebanyakan setelah pesaing mereka kalah kan, ketika membakar uang, itu kesempatan mereka untuk mulai menarikkan harga, mengurangi biaya ke pengemudi. Dan itu ya strategi sekarang yang mulai dipakai oleh perusahaan platform di ojek online di Indonesia ini.
Oke, ini berarti sekarang bakar-bakar uangnya udah menghilang atau udah menurun lumayan drastis nih. Apa kabar nih sekarang pekerja mungkin bisa lebih
Oh ya, bagaimana kesejahteraan mereka jadi apa ya, yang dikorbankan lah bisa dibilang. Itu gimana sih prosesnya?
Ya, setelah sering berjalan waktu kan, karena memang regulasi di Indonesia juga tidak ada yang melindungi pengemudi online ini. Apalagi kalau saya sebut seringkali ada kemitraan yang palsu lah. Karena selama ini kan klasifikasi mereka bukan pekerja, bukan karyawan perusahaan platform. Motor yang nyediain ya bukan perusahaan, HP yang nyediain bukan perusahaan, tapi pengemudi sendiri. Nah, pada prakteknya kemitraan itu tidak berjalan sesuai asas atau esensi kemitraan itu. Karena yang terjadi adalah ya tidak ada yang setara, keputusan diambil sepihak oleh perusahaan. Akhirnya perusahaan secara sewenang-wenang mengatur tarif sekarang diturunkan dari contohnya 2.000 per kilometer jadi 1.800.
Uber still exists, but not here in Indonesia. They're like in the US. In the US, they still call it Uber. They have Uber Eats as well. So yeah. So yes, Boo, Uber still exists. But to address his point just now, again, like he hammered the point on that there's a false use of the term partnership because there isn't a partnership. Any decisions that are made are done one-sided, only done by the platform companies. So despite these drivers are called, nominally speaking, as partners, functionally, they're not. They're independent contractors that these platform companies intentionally design their business scheme in that way so that they're removed from the obligation of meeting their basic, from meeting regulatory requirements that are usually required for formal workers, like basic, like minimum wage or health insurance, stuff like that.
Nah, dan itu kemudian pengemudi pun nggak bisa ngapa-ngapain walaupun sebagai mitra mereka. Padahal kalau dalam regulasi di Indonesia harusnya kan mitra ini sejajar, ada akses musyawarah mufakat dalam mengambil keputusan. Tapi itu tidak terjadi, dan itu terus terjadi sehingga ojol ya semakin dirugikan. Mereka tidak seolah ya tidak berdaya bahkan di tengah keadaan ketidakmampuan pemerintah untuk menyelesaikan berbagai persoalan yang ada atau kemudian kelemahan mereka untuk menegakkan aturan yang ada.
Itu kenapa sih dulu ada istilah kemitraan itu tuh? Itu maksudnya itu emang dari perusahaan-perusahaannya atau emang tren dari platform capitalism atau apa nih yang menggunakan istilah kemitraan yang sebenarnya semu gitu. Maksudnya kan tetap pengemudi atau mitra itu kan juga nggak memiliki perusahaan
apapun.
itu. Iya, apapun.
Tidak
memiliki gitu. Nah, itu tuh dari mana sih sejarahnya ada istilah kemitraan dalam bisnis yang sebenarnya sangat eksploitatif lah.
Ya, menarik sekali mereka menggunakan jargon yang seakan-akan setara gitu ya untuk mendorong sesuatu hal yang secara praktik sangat tidak setara gitu.
Ya, kalau di Indonesia sendiri kemitraan sebenarnya mulai banyak berkembang itu terutama di perkebunan kelapa sawit. Ketika kemudian karena membuat perkebunan kelapa sawit kan harus ada pabriknya dan itu harus ada lahan ratusan hektar di sekitar pabrik itu. Karena kan tandan buah segar dari sawit dalam 1 hari bisa sampai udah busuk, sehingga harus langsung diproses. Nah, itulah yang membuat perusahaan sawit biasanya bermitra dengan para petani-petani di dekat kawasan perusahaan itu dengan koperasi dan lain sebagainya. Maka pemerintah kemudian membuat regulasi tentang kemitraan juga yang diatur dalam undang-undang.
I've just increased their volume so it's easier to listen. But it's interesting that Arif drew comparison to the palm oil industry.
Dan UMKM.
Ada.
Yang mengatur tentang posisi kemitraan seperti apa, prinsip-prinsipnya seperti apa. Nah, pada perkembangannya itulah kemudian yang digunakan oleh Gojek, Grab, Maxim, Driver, dan juga yang
let's actually rewind that a bit.
Ada platform gitu. Ya, kalau di Indonesia sendiri kemitraan sebenarnya mulai banyak berkembang itu terutama di perkebunan kelapa sawit. Ketika kemudian karena membuat perkebunan kelapa sawit kan harus ada pabriknya dan itu harus ada lahan ratusan hektar di sekitar pabrik itu. Karena kan tandan buah segar dari sawit dalam 1 hari bisa sampai udah busuk, sehingga harus langsung diproses. Nah, itulah yang membuat perusahaan sawit biasanya bermitra dengan para petani-petani di dekat kawasan perusahaan itu dengan koperasi dan lain sebagainya. Maka pemerintah kemudian membuat regulasi tentang kemitraan juga yang diatur dalam undang-undang UMKM.
Ada.
Yang mengatur tentang posisi kemitraan seperti apa, prinsip-prinsipnya seperti apa. Nah, pada perkembangannya itulah kemudian yang digunakan oleh Gojek, Grab, Maxim, Driver, dan juga yang lain.
There are even certain industries that are reserved for MSMEs, and there are also sectors and industries where they are obligated to partner with MSMEs, which is an interesting regulation, I guess. But like I'm not entirely sure like how to parse out the exact impact that come with it, but I do understand that at a broader scale, the more sectors that are reserved, or the more sectors that are where an investor is obliged to partner with an MSME, then it would deter more investments. Like I don't know, I have a pretty how should I put it? A pretty negative sentiment, so let's call it that, against MSMEs. Like I considering the fact that it makes up 90% of our economy, I don't see why further bolstering these MSMEs is the way to go. I don't want that. Like we need to find a way to convert them as soon as possible into larger scale industries, larger scale companies. Because no, especially when you consider the fact that that in the new regulation, in the new labor regulation, these MSMEs are excluded from minimum wage laws. They're not excluded. They provide a special exception where they're only obligated to pay 50% of the minimum wage, which is holy shit. Like our minimum wage is low enough as it is, and now these MSMEs, this segment of the economy that represents like the majority of our businesses, are provided an exemption, are only obliged to pay 50% of the minimum wage. That's fucked. Really fucked. Like, I'm sorry, regardless of your size, if you can't afford a decent wage for your workers, then your business doesn't deserve to exist. Oh shit. Just because you're a small business, it doesn't mean you're allowed to get away with it. Like, no. I'm sorry. No. I don't care about your little bakeries, your little coffee shops. Fuck off.
Lain kalau di luar negeri sering disebut sebagai kontraktor independen lah.
I'm sorry, I'm getting really angry. I don't know why. Sorry. Let's calm down. They're just having a chill conversation here. I need to match their energy. I'm coming in way too contemptuous at the moment.
Pengusaha kecil.
Iya,
Tapi
iya.
kalau di Indonesia lebih akrabnya dipanggil sebagai mitra itu tadi.
Oh gitu, oke. Itu baru juga buat kami.
Oke. Tapi mirip-mirip nggak kalau misalnya yang sistem kemitraan yang tadi sama petani-petani sawit itu mirip juga atau justru lebih nggak semu gitu atau
Lebih sangat tidak adil di ojol sebenarnya.
Oh gitu.
Iya, kalau
Wow.
di kelapa sawit itu pemerintah itu sejak dalam proses pembuatan perjanjian kemitraan
sudah melibatkan.
itu sudah melibatkan pemerintah sama koperasi sama perusahaan berdiskusi tentang perjanjian kemitraannya nanti seperti apa, nanti bagi hasilnya seperti apa, sistemnya seperti apa, biaya-biayanya seperti apa. Nah kalau di ojol itu kan perjanjian kemitraan sejak awal dibuat oleh perusahaan platform.
Iya.
Oh, jadi terserah nih, ini
Ya.
landasannya kamu menerima atau tidak kemitraan ini gitu.
Iya,
Ya,
iya.
Oke.
Kalau
Ya,
dia nggak
pokoknya
terima nggak
setuju.
bisa jadi ojol,
Iya.
dia dapat paksa.
Iya,
Ya udahlah
iya.
terima aja karena nah ini yang menjadi problem.
Iya. Oke, mungkin bisa dirangkum sedikit, Arif. Kayak apa yang harus diberikan seorang calon pengemudi ojol ini agar bisa jadi mitra gitu? Kayak
Syaratnya.
syaratnya gitu. ha.
Biasanya mereka harus, kalau sekarang harus mendaftar online dulu. Daftar online, setelah itu harus melampirkan yaitu tadi kayak surat kendaraan,
Oke.
surat izin mengemudi.
Kendaraannya ada kayak batasannya nggak boleh
Ya,
dari tahun.
ada batas, kalau nggak salah 7 tahun
Oh,
usia
oke.
kendaraan maksimal. Tapi beberapa platform membebaskan, tapi kayak platform Gojek atau Grab kalau nggak salah 7 tahun maksimal. Setelah itu kemudian mereka akan diundang.
Hmm.
Kemudian diundang untuk wawancara atau untuk rapi berkas. Setelah itu kemudian itu dikasih perjanjian kemitraan di dalam aplikasi yang mereka install.
Oh.
Dan mereka pilihannya kalau nggak nyentang nggak bisa lanjut.
Ya,
Oh,
ya, ya.
Harus disetujui.
Iya,
Nggak
iya.
ada, kalau mereka ada poin yang nggak adil, mereka nggak bisa kemudian menggugatnya.
Jadi kayak silakan terima atau tidak
Iya.
gini ya.
Iya, iya,
Iya.
Kalau terima jadi prefer, kalau nggak ya nggak bisa kerja dengan
So there is no negotiation process at all. It's all binding and non-negotiable. What kind of partnership is that? My God.
platform. Nah itu menjadi problemnya.
Kalau motornya rusak,
That's a red flag if I've ever seen one. Like, and I've seen like several contract like between the company that I work for and their clients, there are usually several negotiation processes, like several details, intricacies of clauses where we would have to negotiate, especially in terms of like payment terms and whatnot, or even details about information and all that. There's always negotiation. And the fact that in this case, despite them being, again, a partner, they're not allowed to negotiate. Red flag. Red flag.
Di jalan gitu, itu tanggung jawab siapa?
Nah kalau dalam sekarang tanggung jawab
Pribadi.
pengemudi itu. Nah ini menjadi problem. Makanya mereka seringkali hampir semua mayoritas pengemudi pasti memiliki komunitas. Karena itu sebagai cara informal mereka untuk saling membantu. Karena perusahaan platform atau pemerintah tidak memberikan bantuan.
Jadi misalnya pokoknya bensin, terus maintenance motor atau mobil,
Alat
alat produksi lah
lah
bisa
ya.
dibilang itu memang tanggung jawab ojol gitu ya, 100% sendiri.
100%.
Keselamatan,
Ya, termasuk
ada
jaminan
BPJS,
kesehatan, ya.
jaminan kesehatan gitu nggak ada?
100% dari Ojol juga.
Oh oke.
Oke, wah adil banget mitra ini.
Iya,
Ya.
makanya ini.
Aku rasa-
Pengen deh jadi mitra. Ya.
Oh bahkan nggak ada kayak koperasi gitu, aku pernah dengar ada. Oh tapi itu koperasi mandiri berarti yang ada.
Ya biasanya koperasi yang kalau sekarang sistemnya beberapa perusahaan platform membuat koperasi. Kemudian koperasi itu dikelola oleh pengemudi dan mereka kemudian yang menyeleksi siapa pengemudi yang bisa masuk menjadi driver di platform. Nanti ada potongannya. Per bulan, per minggu mereka dipotong berapa untuk koperasi. Tapi mereka ya nggak koperasi yang seperti di bayangan Bung Hatta lah, yang dimana ada aspek
Ini simpan pinjam maksudnya,
bukan ya koperasi apa?
seragam.
Ya, koperasi untuk mengelola pengemudi lah. Digunakan sebagai tangan kanannya perusahaan platform untuk mengelola
oke.
mengelola
Oh, iya,
pengemudi.
paham.
Untuk merekrut,
Iya.
ketika ada sanksi mereka harus melapor ke sini dulu.
Oh, oke.
Kok ada suara
When there's a violation, the report to the corporation, to the cooperative. So they become the right hand extension. They become an extension of the company. It's like, what was it? I was about to say, the term that is used for people that are assigned by companies to infiltrate unionizing activities. I forgot what it's called. There's a slang for it, but it definitely sounds like that. It's like a spy, a double agent. That's weird. Yeah. Like, who elects the members of the cooperative? Who elects the officials of that cooperative? If it's the platform company, another red flag.
batuk ya? Goib. Jadi ini juga podcast misteri ya teman-teman. Oke, aku jadi ngerti. Nah, oke dengan mungkin nggak mungkin sih, pasti Mas Arief udah sering ketemu dan ngobrol sama ojol dari berbagai latar belakang kan. Ya kami juga lah pasti karena menggunakan jasa ojol. Apa nih cerita-cerita yang mungkin paling memprihatinkan maupun yang mungkin menguatkan atau apa ya, menggugah lah gitu, mungkin dua sisi itu, karena pasti kita semua punya cerita yang sangat
Soalnya
spesifik.
yang sering kita dengar kan paling tidak di media massa adalah, oh iya nih saya bisa nyicil mobil, nyicil rumah, tadi balik lagi saya bisa menyekolahkan anak-anak saya.
Dan itu benar.
Dan itu benar, kita nggak mau sama sekali mengesampingkan hal tersebut ya. Tapi dari awal ojol sampai sekarang kan tadi kan kita udah lihat ada perubahan nih. Sekarang mereka kayak gimana sih cerita-cerita realnya gitu?
Nah kalau sekarang memang sebenarnya tidak hanya cerita di media massa, bahkan perusahaan platform seringkali saya dapat iklan ya ketika buka media sosial kan, daftar sebagai pengemudi ini platform A, B, nanti pendapatan sampai 16 juta per bulan, sampai 14
Aku nggak
juta
pernah
per
dapat
bulan.
iklan itu.
Mungkin algoritma karena saya banyak masuk di pojok.
Ya, jadi udah masuk ya.
Jadi dipikir berpotensi untuk jadi pengemudi nih.
Oh, 16 juta loh, mau sih. Musisi nggak sih?
Ya. Tapi kan itu hanya semacam apa ya, semacam retorika, semacam
Iya.
iklan aja. Tapi realitas di lapangannya nggak sampai, bahkan bisa sampai dapat 8 juta, dapat 5 juta, itu pun sangat-sangat susah. Nah ini yang menjadi semacam menjadi persoalan yang pengemudi alami. Ada bahkan karena pendapatan yang cenderung menurun, tarif yang kecil, apalagi banyak platform yang membuka banyak pengemudi baru, sehingga kan saingannya semakin banyak. Jadi pengemudi saling diadu, saling ada dikompetisikan gitu. Nah itu yang membuat bahkan ada pengemudi yang bekerja sampai 24 jam mengaktifkan aplikasi. Ketika tidur ada orderan ya bangun, cuci muka dan berangkat. Karena mereka terpaksa melakukan itu.
Itu untuk pendapatan berapa sih sebenarnya mereka ngelakuin ini? Atau setidaknya untuk di daerah Jogja kali ya?
Ya pendapatan sampai 24 jam ya mungkin cuma dapat, kalau lagi agak sepi order ya dapat cuma 100.000, 150.000 sehari. Itu biaya kendaraan,
itu
makan.
tarif bersih ya?
Enggak, kotor itu gross.
Itu
gitu.
kotor, itu belum dipotong makan, minum,
bensin.
pulsa.
Iya.
How much was it?
150.000 sehari. Dapat,
150.
kalau lagi agak sepi order ya dapat cuma 100.000, 150.000
Sehari.
sehari.
Oh God.
biaya kendaraan,
Itu
makan, dan
tarif
lain
bersih ya?
Enggak,
Kotor.
kotor itu gross.
Itu
gitu.
kotor, itu
Kotor.
belum dipotong makan,
Iya,
minum,
bensin,
pulsa.
iya, biaya perawatan kendaraan. Nah, kalau di total paling ya kayak kerja bakti ya kan ya, nggak
Loh,
dapat.
volunteer nih kemitraan
Volunteer, ya.
sebenarnya ya.
Dapat apa-apa.
Iya.
Volunteerism.
Iya.
Padahal kalau di pekerjaan formal, ketika kerja lebih dari 8 jam, harusnya kan dapat upah lembur.
Iya, iya.
Kalau dari ojol sampai 24 jam, mereka hanya bisa untuk cukup secukupnya. Itu makanya dalam survei kami hampir 60% lebih ya yang menganggap bahwa pekerjaan sebagai ojol ini bukan pekerjaan tahap lanjut masa depan. Mereka juga tengah mencari pekerjaan yang lebih baik lagi. Ya, artinya hanya
oke.
sebagai
Stepping stone ya.
sebagai batu loncatan saja sambil menemukan pekerjaan itu.
Seingat saya dulu, bukannya ojol itu digadang-gadang sebagai kerjaan sampingan ya dulu, ketimbang kerjaan utama. Nggak tahu apakah
Digadang-gadang oleh siapa?
oleh platform itu sendiri
gitu.
gitu. Jadi kayak ada penghasilan tambahan ketimbang penghasilan utama. Apakah hal tersebut
I think that's a very Western concept, I guess, because that's how people in the US perceive works like this, jobs like this. It's like their side hustle. It's not their main source of income. But the thing is, in a country like Indonesia, where the job opportunities that are available are pretty lackluster, suffice to say the least. When they look at these opportunities, especially when initially they promote them as something where you can earn, twice, like initially twice the minimum wage, then yeah, of course people will be drawn by that. Like twice the minimum wage, of course I'll go for that. Holy shit. Yeah, and I think I think Arif mentioned a specific numbers just now, that even now they're still pushing that narrative that it's a very lucrative source of income, when in actuality it's not. Like he said, during a slow day, sometimes you would only get 100K or 150K per day, and that's gross. Like it doesn't count operational costs. Is that my cat? Wait, hang on. Hi. Sorry about that. She was meowing in front of the... And can you hear her purr? Oh. I think she was caught in the rain just now. Poruchil. Hi. Look at her. She's so cute. She was meowing pretty loud just now. Oh, poor thing. Hi. Oh. Boo boo, look, it's Uchil. Okay. All right. Oop. Are you gonna go? Hmm? Yeah, she's really cold, I bet. Oh, you're staying? Oh, you're going. Where are you going? All right, go ahead. Go. Go. Well. Oh God. Forgot I was wearing a white sweater. Oh, hi. You're back. What do you want? Hmm? She has invaded the stream. Hi. Oh. Just stay here. Come on. I know you're cold. And okay, there you go. She has nested on my lap. Let us continue. Wait, let me adjust my mic. Apologies for the interruption.
Masih seperti itu kah sekarang atau emang ini udah penghasilan utama buat banyak orang?
Ya sejak awal emang janji yang dijanjikan seperti itu. Tapi realitasnya pengaturan algoritma yang dilakukan perusahaan platform tidak memungkinkan bekerja sebagai ojol sebagai sampingan sekarang.
Pengaturan algoritma itu maksudnya apa nih Mas? Mungkin
Ya, algoritma
sobat
kan, ya.
benang merah nggak semua paham gitu.
Algoritma kan cara pengaturan sistem secara menyeluruh lewat aplikasi itu. Itu didesain ketika pengemudi hanya bekerja contoh 4 jam sehari, itu dianggap sebagai tidak disiplin, pemalas. Sehingga mereka tidak diprioritaskan untuk mendapat orderan konsumen.
Oh, oke.
Yang diprioritaskan adalah pengemudi yang dianggap yaitu tadi kerja keras, kerja lebih.
Yeah, I think I heard this before, that usually drivers that are active, like always going around instead of waiting in a certain spot, they tend to get more orders. Which is an odd concept. Like, say if you have a hotspot, like a mall or a department store or a school, university, why do you have to keep going around? Just stay in one spot. It's more economical. It's more efficient, like cost-wise, because you save, fuel, right? Something that is very topical today. So I wonder if they've tweaked the algorithm somewhat. I haven't exactly talked about this with anyone, with any of the drivers, if they've changed the algorithm. But I do notice that I don't really see a lot of these online drivers waiting around in a certain spot. They're always on the go. So maybe the same algorithm still applies. My cat is just lying back right now, just looking at me. Yes. You have my attention, don't worry. Let's continue.
2012 jam sehari, kerja disiplin, dapat.
And yes, Boo Boo, of course she would stay on my on her personal heating pad. Although it's kind of mutual in a way. She's kind of my heating pad as well, because whenever she sleeps on my bed, it's always very warm and it's always nice. So it's mutual. The feeling is mutual.
Rating bagus dari konsumen, tidak sering komplain,
Aktif lah ya.
yang aktif. Nah, itu yang diprioritaskan untuk dapat orderan.
Jadi sebenarnya mirip sama media sosial ya. Semakin kita jarang ngepost, makin jelek algoritmanya atau tidak berpihak pada kita gitu. Oh, jadi ojol pun ada.
Ya, itu yang membuat mereka kalau kerja part time ya akhirnya kerja 4 jam kadang hanya dapat 2 orderan. Dan nilainya mungkin ya sekitar 15.000. Ya, itu untuk hidup aja enggak. Untuk makan aja udah
volunteer lagi.
Volunteer lagi.
Semakin kita kerja Rodi, intinya semakin kita dapat penghasilan gitu ya. Tapi itu serem sekali itu. Dan penghasilannya walaupun misalnya udah kerja 24 jam pun nggak seberapa juga gitu.
Juga itu jadi.
Tapi itu nggak, aku jadi mikir karena aku tuh sering ngobrol sama ojol-ojol yang belakangan sih kita suka naik gokar misalnya dari bandara atau kemana kan harus yang jangka panjang tuh bawa banyak barang. Jadi ngobrol lebih lama gitu. Dan seringkali muncul kayak narasi-narasi misalnya ya ini tuh takdir lah gitu. Jadi ini semua sekarang takdir, memang hidup tuh harus ada kesusahannya, ada tantangannya. Jadi tapi yang penting kita kerja keras, semakin kita kerja keras pasti nanti dijabah doa-doa kita. Tapi sebenarnya algoritma.
Oh no, the bootstrap mentality has invaded Indonesia. No, please. Fuck that shit, man. It's just copium. It's just copium and honestly propaganda by the wealthy so that they can keep the poor and marginalized disenfranchised, essentially. That, hey, I mean, one day, if you're lucky enough, if you work hard enough, then you can be just like us. Just you gotta keep working, keep hustling, and don't forget to buy my financial guide. Fuck off.
mana juga melakukan itu ya,
Iya.
maksudnya ya itu satu hal secara mungkin kepercayaan agama dan lain-lain gitu. Tapi secara algoritmik gitu itu juga ada benernya gitu. Semakin mereka show up, datang kerja 24 jam, 48 jam, semakin lebih banyak orderan juga. Aku jadi maksudnya itu jadi sekarang jadi masuk akal kenapa mereka
It becomes a self-sabotaging mechanism. It's like being in a corporate setting where like if you present yourself as someone who's hardworking, who's always doing overtime, and I have personal experience on this, it would create this image as if that you are hardworking, and of course if you work more, then more people would come to you and ask you to do more stuff because then they know that you would stay longer, you would do more things. So and then yes, the benefits do come in the form of overtime pay. It doesn't apply in this case. And also the fact that you would stand out more, people would look up to you, and you have more chances of getting promoted. So yeah, there is the incentive to do that. Very beneficial ones. But again, at what cost? Just don't do it. It's not worth it. That's all I could say. You're really enjoying this, aren't you? You're enjoying me spoiling you, aren't you, you little kitty? She looks so happy.
mereka kedua hal itu, kedua kepercayaan itu, keimanan itu tuh jadi iman terhadap kapitalisme dan iman terhadap sesuatu.
Sangat melebur dengan baik,
cantik ya.
dengan cantiknya gitu.
Yang ada agak miris juga sih aku kadang kita sempat bilang mungkin nggak harus gitu kali ya Pak gitu kan, mungkin ada cara-cara kerja yang lebih manusiawi. Enggak, memang harus seperti ini, kita harus bersyukur sudah dapat kesempatan ini, dan kalaupun itu mengharuskan saya kerja 48 jam, libur cuma sehari seminggu, ya itulah takdir saya gitu. Tapi aku juga di situ mungkin berusaha menempatkan diriku di posisi dia gitu kan.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the power to speak up. They can't push back. Who are they? Like on their own, they're just a driver compared to a mega corporation supported by another mega corporation funding them. That is why it's important to unionize, guys. That's why it's important to organize, collectivize, and push back against these sons of bitches.
Iya, ngerti sih. Kalau nggak gitu dia nggak makan gitu.
Iya. Karena algoritma memang diatur untuk mendisiplinkan pengemudi ini. Kemudian ketika mereka mendapat pendapatan yang kecil, itu yang disalahkan bukan lagi perusahaan platform. Yang disalahkan kadang diri mereka sendiri. Karena mereka merasa
Individualisasi lagi ya.
kalah bersaing dengan pengemudi yang lain,
Ya,
yang lebih disiplin, lebih kerja keras, lebih melayani konsumen dengan baik sehingga ratingnya bagus. Akibatnya mereka tidak lagi mersoalkan, saya kerja 12 jam, dibayar cuma 40.000. Seumpama jadi pekerja formal dapat ratusan ribu dan lain sebagainya. Nah ini yang
This is why, like, when you talk about algorithms, you should never overlook the people building the algorithm itself. And what's the purpose of this algorithm? Because by the end of the day, an algorithm is dependent on the inputs that you place upon them. If the input is prioritizing the needs of the customers, and with that, the company's interests, the investor's interest, to be even more specific, then yes, it would come at the cost of the workers. They would present themselves as unbiased, as always for the purpose of efficiency, but it would essentially, in short, dehumanize these workers as nothing but numbers. Again, same like how we should try to communicate with these drivers instead of getting annoyed if they try to engage with you. They're humans, okay? They're humans, not just numbers on the screen showing that, hey, this person, Bob, has already arrived to pick you up. This, I don't know, Toyota Avanza has arrived to pick you up. License plate XZM or something like that. There's someone behind the wheels driving them. They're humans.
ya, di sistemnya diatur untuk menciptakan tadi individualisme yang neoliberal tadi. Kompetisi diapakan di antara pengemudi itu.
Oke. Ini menarik sih. Ini satu hal yang lumayan baru buat kami juga tentang proses penormalisasian pendisiplinan diri itu, dan akhirnya penyalahan diri sendiri ketimbang struktur itu sendiri yang menaungi mereka. Jadi kita kayak kesulitan untuk memahami bahwa ada satu hal yang menghambat kesejahteraan kita selain diri kita sendiri gitu ya. Bahwa ya semua tuh bergantung terhadap ya kita saja gitu. Nggak ada hal di luar kita yang bisa meningkatkan atau menghambat kesejahteraan kita sendiri gitu.
Tapi
Tuh.
Ojol tuh sadar nggak sama algoritma ini?
Mereka sadarnya dari itu.
Terus gimana
Makanya
respon?
makanya di teman-teman Ojol ada istilah namanya akun gacor sama akun budet atau sepi order. Kalau
Aku lupa,
gacor itu
gacor. Oh, kayak rame orderan.
itu kepanjangannya gampang cari orderan. Jadi ketika contoh habis orderin makanan ke Mbak Rara contohnya, nanti baru mau jalan udah dapat lagi. Dia terus dapat terus, akunnya bunyi terus. Sementara yang budet
The Indonesian desire to create an acronym for basically everything. What was it? Gampang. What was it?
atau sepi order. Makanya di teman-teman Ojol ada istilah namanya akun gacor sama akun budet atau sepi order. Kalau
Aku lupa,
gacor itu
gacor. Oh, kayak rame orderan.
itu kepanjangannya gampang cari orderan.
Gampang cari orderan. Okay.
Jadi ketika contoh habis orderin makanan ke Mbak Rara contohnya, nanti baru mau jalan udah dapat lagi. Dia terus dapat terus, akunnya bunyi terus. Sementara yang budik atau sepi order, dia kadang nunggu sampai 2 jam, nunggu 3 jam nggak ada orderan masuk. Nah, caranya untuk bisa menjadi gacor itu seringkali ada istilah disebut sebagai terapi. Artinya akunnya ini diterapi. Dia harus bekerja lebih panjang lagi dari yang gacor ini, harus lebih kerja keras lagi dari yang gacor ini.
Diedukasi ya?
Iya, diterapi
algoritmanya.
gitu. Supaya kemudian akunnya ini dipilih, diprioritaskan untuk dapat
Orderan terus.
Oh God, it's like dealing with YouTube algorithm. Jeez. Oh man.
Makanya kemudian muncul ya itu tadi, ketika
I mean, you can definitely see the incentive, right? Like when you see like YouTube accounts who just push out content every single day just for the sake of satisfying the algorithm, and without really paying attention to their quality, just pushing the numbers, just getting it out there, and always following the trend, trying to mimic things that are trending, and that's how you end up with what was it this kind of content wasteland, essentially, where everything just looks the same, and that's boring. It's so boring in a lot of ways. Like there's no creative, what was it shit, I'm struggling to find a word here, but creative ingenuity, for lack of better terms. Everything just looks the same. But thankfully, there are accounts that still try to push for that on YouTube. Sorry, this is like totally separate to what we're watching, but there are still accounts who are pushing video essays that are have high production values, that they only post like once every 3 months, which is, of course, it goes against the algorithm, and yet they still manage to cultivate quite a community. Of course, they don't exactly have like a huge one per se, like doesn't reach like beyond 1 million or 10 million, stuff like that. Sometimes they do surpass the 1 million number, but they have a more cultive community, cultive personality in a way, compared to these other content creators who only do stuff for the sake of the algorithm.
mereka dapat orderan kecil, nggak lagi nyalain perusahaan platform, tapi yang disalahin diri mereka sendiri. Kadang yang gacor pun nyalain yang sepi order ini, kamu kurang kerja keras, kamu kurang gini. Nah ini yang menjadi problem dalam pengaturan algoritma dari perusahaan platform itu.
Nah, ini kan lumayan tegang ya, maksudnya selalu berkompetisi dengan diri sendiri apalagi ya. Terus kenapa mereka memilih untuk tetap menjadi ojol gitu? Apakah memang sulit memilih pekerjaan lain atau lapangan pekerjaan itu memang terbatas hari ini gitu? Atau kenyamanan atau kira-kira kenapa tuh, Mas?
Ya sebagian besar karena tidak ada opsi lain.
Benar-benar tidak ada ya?
Karena ada keterbatasan lapangan pekerjaan, apalagi di tengah pandemi ya, apalagi di tengah pekerjaan informal yang banyak. Akhirnya mereka ya terpaksa untuk menjadi pengemudi ini. Makanya tadi 60% ketika ada pekerjaan yang lebih baik, mereka akan pasti akan pindah ke pekerjaan yang lebih baik itu dibanding harus kerja sebagai ojol ini. Itu pun dikonfirmasi oleh petinggi-petinggi perusahaan platform bahkan yang menyebut bahwa perusahaan platformnya ini besar ya karena melimpahnya pekerja informal di Indonesia.
Iya, itu betul sih.
Mereka menganggap bahwa pekerja informal ini adalah sumber daya yang murah yang digunakan.
Fucking parasites. Jeez. That's why. Please stop pushing for MSMEs. Fuck no. My God. No.
Untuk membuat atau kemudian membuat berbagai inovasi.
I think like the latest statistics was like 60% of our workers are in the informal sector. Something like that, if I'm not mistaken. That's a huge number. A huge number of workers that don't have guaranteed Social Security. Jesus.
Inovasi dalam platform mereka. Nah, ini sebenarnya menjadi problem struktural juga tentang lapangan kerja yang layak.
Iya.
Iya, iya.
Kerjaan layak.
Ini menarik sih, ini bagaimana mereka kalau mau kasarnya para platform ini menggunakan keterdesakan masyarakat kita ini ya agar mereka bisa memanfaatkan tubuh dan jiwa dan raga mereka untuk bekerja bakti untuk platform tersebut gitu kan ya, karena emang ya keterbatasan opsi tersebut gitu.
Iya.
Berarti kalau sekarang udah susah banget untuk bisa sekaya atau sesejahtera di awal ojol ini ada ya?
Ya, susah sekali. Mungkin yang bisa cuma 1 atau 2. Kalau
Yang
dalam
khususnya?
yang akun yang gacor tadi. Jadi
yang
dia
gacor.
kerja 12 jam bisa sampai dapat 30 orderan.
Itu berapa sih? Berarti 30
Kalau di total ya bisa sampai 250.000
sehari.
Ya,
Itu tuh kotor kan?
kotor.
Jadi bersihnya mungkin 150.
Bersihnya ya mungkin ya 100.000, 150.
250K per day times, say, 25. Well, 30. I guess they tend to work every day. That's like, nah, 7.5 million. Bullshit. No way. But this is like the creme de la creme, though. It's only 1 or 2 accounts that are like that. So they're outliers, not the norm.
Setelah
100.000.
dikurangi biaya produksi,
100.000 dikali kerja berapa hari itu sebulan?
ya bisa sampai 25 hari,
Berarti
26 hari.
berarti 2,5 juta.
Ya,
Okay, never mind. 2.5 million.
kalau riset kan saya ya di Gusen sama
if assuming it's 100K per day.
di Jakarta.
Oh, gosen ya?
Ya, itu rata-rata jam kerjanya 11 jam lebih per hari, dan jumlah pendapatan mereka kalau kotornya hampir 5 juta, tapi kalau dibersih ketika dikurangi dengan biaya sarana produksi seperti bahan bakar,
Ya.
servis
Maintenance.
motor, ganti oli, ganti ban dan pulsa dan lain sebagainya, itu hanya 1,6 juta. Bandingkan
Jakarta,
dengan
ya?
ya upah minimum Jakarta yang tahun 2021 adalah 4,4 juta.
Yeah, that's insane. And I think he actually made a proper calculation of that. Yeah, it was actually part of his study during the seminar at the Mansi Talk, where he created an average for the costs and whatnot. And damn, if 1.6 is only for production costs, like fuel and whatnot, doesn't count your day-to-day living cost. Not in Jakarta, bro. No way in hell.
Gokil.
Artinya hampir 3 kali lipat di bawahnya. Nah, ini yang menjadi problem juga.
Oke. Sebelum kita masuk ke sesi depresif ini ya,
mulai baru segini nih.
merenungi eksistensi kita sebagai manusia
Iya,
gitu ya.
agak merenungi.
Apa yang udah dilakukan para pengemudi ojol ini untuk melawan balik sistem yang sangat tidak adil ini gitu. Apakah perlawanan itu ada gunanya atau tidak kalau dari penelitianmu?
Iya. Kalau saya lihatnya perlawanannya paling nggak ada 2 ya sama baginya. Yang perlawanan pertama adalah perlawanan secara intrapolitik. Itu rata-rata mereka yang sekedar mengeluh atau kemudian berupaya mengakali sistem.
Sambat
Ya, sambat, kemudian menggunakan GPS palsu, menggunakan
Itu gimana?
ya biar mereka nggak harus nunggu di kawasan yang ramai. Contoh kawasan
punya
ramai,
setting.
ya jadi GPS-nya digeser ke kawasan yang
Ya.
ramai orderan. Karena
Oke.
barangkali kan di sana mereka harus parkir, harus bayar.
Iya.
Kalau harus nunggu harus di warung, harus beli makan, atau panas-panas. Jadi mereka setting harus di lokasi itu, dia tinggal di rumah, kalau dapat orderan berangkat.
Itu kenapa kadang-kadang saya dapat yang ternyata 2 minutes away, tapi ternyata mereka masih lumayan
15
jauh.
menit
Ya,
ya.
bisa seperti itu. Walaupun perusahaan platform juga sudah canggih, sudah kadang bisa mendeteksi.
Oke.
Kemudian yang kedeteksi sudah disuspend.
Oke.
Perlawanannya seperti itu. Ada yang ya perlawanannya ya tadi berupaya untuk sambat, kemudian pakai akun anonim, ngajak melakukan sesuatu dan lain sebagainya. Di sisi lain ada juga perlawanan yang
Di kolektif.
ya kolektif. Mereka membentuk organisasi, membentuk serikat, membentuk aliansi yang lebih luas untuk melakukan perlawanan. Jadi yang diubah sistemnya. Jadi mereka mendorong agar ada regulasi dari pemerintah untuk memberikan perlindungan bagi kawan-kawan pengemudi, untuk memberikan pendapatan tarif yang layak, untuk memberikan hak-hak jaminan kesehatan dan juga yang lain. Nah, itu juga dilakukan.
Tapi kan itu akhirnya butuh pemahaman ulang dari perusahaannya akan definisi kemitraan mereka juga ya.
Ya. Nah, ini yang makanya seringkali kawan-kawan pengemudi kan
But they won't do it. I doubt it.
ya pusing juga karena di pingpong itu tadi. Karena yang menaungi ojol ini kan ada banyak sebenarnya. Yang ada Kementerian Perhubungan yang ketika ojol di jalan, itu yang menangani Kementerian Perhubungan. Terkait aplikasi itu Kementerian Kominfo. Terkait perjanjian kemitraan ada KPPU, Komisi Pengawas Persaingan Usaha. Terkait masalah hak-hak atau kemudian hak bersuara itu Kementerian Koperasi. Dan yang lain sebagainya. Makanya seringkali kawan-kawan pengemudi di pingpong. Ketika lapor sini, ini bukan kewenangan saya, ini kewenangan ini. Ini kewenangan ini. Makanya kemarin sempat ada yang sampai aksi jahit mulut kan.
Oh iya.
Karena merasa itu tadi selama ini dia bersuara tapi dipaksa untuk diam. Suaranya nggak didengar, mereka aksi dengan berdiam diri untuk menunjukkan kondisi yang mereka alami itu.
Dan ada nggak sih kesuksesan kayak perubahan struktural atau sistemik dari protes-protes yang udah dilakuin sama teman-teman ojol?
Ada beberapa, contohnya kenapa kemudian ojol akhirnya legal di Indonesia, salah satunya akibat protes yang besar yang mereka lakukan. Karena kalau kita lihat rujuk regulasi undang-undang lalu lintas dan angkutan jalan, angkutan roda 2 kan nggak boleh sebagai transportasi. Transportasi kan harus plat kuning, harus ujikir dan lain sebagainya.
Tapi odong-odong.
Nah, setelah protes panjang, makanya dulu kan sektor transportasi konvensional, seperti taksi konvensional atau ojek pangkalan sering menyerang atau kemudian memprotes agar ojol ini dirazia, dilarang, karena memang melanggar undang-undang lalu lintas angkutan jalan ini. Makanya setelah protes yang besar-besaran muncul regulasi yang melindungi mereka, akhirnya melegalkan. Mereka kemudian diklasifikasikan bukan sebagai angkutan umum, tapi angkutan khusus, agar tidak menghidup undang-undang lalu lintas angkutan jalan ini.
Oh, ASUS.
Ya, ASUS. Selain itu juga persoalan tarif. Sebelumnya kan nggak ada pengaturan tarif. Jadi tarif memang diserahkan ke perusahaan, mau ngasih tarif Rp100 per kilometer bisa aja. Tapi setelah proses yang banyak besar-besaran muncul tarif yang diatur oleh salah satunya Kementerian Perhubungan. Yang kemudian ada tarif batas bawah, ada tarif dasar, yang itu paling nggak minimal memberi sedikit perlindungan. Walaupun persoalannya masih besar dan tuntutan-tuntutan mereka yang lebih substantif yang lainnya masih belum terpenuhi tentunya.
Oke, soalnya sekarang platform kan udah kehabisan duitnya buat bakar uang nih. Masa depannya kayak gimana nih? Apakah sebenarnya memungkinkan nggak sih untuk akhirnya ojol itu hidup sejahtera gitu, melihat bahwa memang seperti ini, pakai jargonnya tuh kayak race to the bottom, berlomba-lomba menuju yang paling miskin lah gitu kan ya. Memungkinkan nggak sih kayak ada perubahan secara masif terhadap kesejahteraan ojol? Padahal ya tujuan dari platform itu sendiri adalah keuntungan bukan buat para pengemudinya, tapi keuntungan buat platform itu sendiri. Gitu.
Ya, seperti itu. Karena memang dari hari ke hari ya itu tadi potongan semakin banyak, ada biaya-biaya lain, pengemudi semakin ditekan. Nah, makanya kadang saya juga berpikir, wah akan susah ini kesejahteraan ojol bisa didapat dalam yang disebut platform kapitalisme ini. Opsinya bisa jadi membentuk contoh perusahaan platform yang dikelola secara kolektif, secara sosialis, secara dengan koperasi, dengan yang lain, dengan yang lainnya. Nah, itu kan yang akan membuat mereka tidak hanya sebagai pekerja, sebagai pengemudi, tapi juga sebagai pemilik platform itu.
Tapi itu kan udah sempat dicoba kayaknya ya. Kalau nggak salah tuh yang jebolan dari Go Live, ya kan mereka bikin semacam platform.
Kayak pernah baca. Iya.
Cuman akhirnya tuh susah karena kalah bersaing, karena nggak ada marketing, kan nggak ada duit buat dibakar, duit visi buat dibakar. Terus akhirnya ya susah gitu.
Ya, karena mungkin lahirnya pada saat bakar-bakar uang.
Jadi
mereka
jadi
masih kalah.
Oke,
itu juga yang waktu itu kan beberapa organisasi ojol di Jogja juga sudah berupaya untuk menginisiasi itu. Tapi waktu tahun-tahun 2018-19 mereka berpikir akan susah karena masih bakar-bakar uang. Jadi mereka masih menunggu momen yang pas dan juga sambil mencari siapa yang
That's interesting. Like, let's listen to that again.
Dengan yang lain di platform kapitalisme ini. Opsinya bisa jadi membentuk contoh perusahaan platform yang dikelola secara kolektif, secara sosialis, secara dengan koperasi, dengan yang.
Okay, I think the U.S. have tried I forgot where it was. I think California. There's this thing called. Give me a sec. What is it called again? Blah, 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 blah. Drivers Cooperative. Is this channel? Can't be. Yeah, it's not. I wonder if they're still functional. So it's founded in 2020. Yeah, they've built a worker-owned ride-hailing company. Which again, because it's a cooperative, it is owned by the workers, it is owned by the drivers. They decide their own rates, and every time they profit from it, it is distributed evenly to all of the members. It's definitely a positive force in this otherwise parasitic system.
Yang lain dan yang lainnya. Nah, itu kan yang akan membuat mereka tidak hanya sebagai pekerja, sebagai pengemudi, tapi juga sebagai pemilik platform itu.
Tapi itu kan udah sempat dicoba kayaknya. Kalau nggak salah tuh yang jebolan dari Go Live, ya kan mereka bikin semacam platform.
Kayak pernah baca.
Iya. Cuman akhirnya tuh susah karena kalah bersaing, karena nggak ada marketing, kan nggak ada duit buat dibakar, duit visi buat dibakar. Terus akhirnya ya susah gitu.
Yeah, and that's why, like, you can organize as much as you want, but by the end of the day, you still need the state's support in some ways. Without a state backing, if you're up against, like they said, a company that has essentially unlimited money to spend, you would be out competed. That's just the way that businesses works. If you have like an unlimited amount of money that you can spend without really worrying about profits and whatnot, then that's what incentivizes the, like he said, the race to the bottom. They could afford that. So they could outcompete other people, monopolize the market, and then you jack up the prices, which is exactly what's happening right now. Although, because they have a buffer, and by buffer I mean the drivers, their so-called partners, they have a buffer. So they increase the price, they increase their earnings by not affecting the consumer base per se, but they do so through the drivers by lowering their pay, lowering their rates, reducing their incentives, cutting their bonuses, and voila. They start making back their money. Although, still to this day, they haven't profited, but nevertheless, that's what's happening. Again, parasites, a lot of them.
Ya, karena mungkin lahirnya pada saat bakar-bakar uang.
Oh,
Jadi
jadi
mereka
pajak jadi
pasti kalah
iya,
perasaan.
iya, iya, oke,
Itu
paham.
juga
paham.
yang waktu itu kan beberapa organisasi ojol di Jogja juga sudah berupaya untuk menginisiasi itu. Tapi waktu tahun-tahun 2018-19 mereka berpikir akan susah karena masih bakar-bakar uang. Jadi mereka masih menunggu momen yang pas
Ya,
dan
ya.
juga sambil mencari ya siapa yang pintar membuat aplikasinya,
Ya,
yang anti hack, siapa yang pintar marketingnya nanti. dan
Oh
lain
iya, benar
sebagainya.
sih.
Karena ini kan dibutuhkan, makanya upaya untuk menciptakan kesejahteraan bagi ojol itu sebenarnya bukan hanya tanggung jawab ojol juga.
Iya, iya.
Itu seorang ahli engineering aplikasi yang membuat
Iya.
aplikasi,
Iya, iya.
yang marketing yang juga bisa
Benar.
berkontribusi lah untuk mendorong perubahan yang lebih baik itu.
Nah, ini aku tahu dengan benang merah daftar ke sini loh.
Kirimkan aplikasi CV
Sibuk ya,
dan
ke Arif.
Organisasi ojol.
iya sih.
Iya.
Menurutku sih bisa, dan nggak tahu juga, aku mikir apa bisa bikin per lokasi gitu. Maksudnya jadi kalau di Jogja gitu untuk ada satu aplikasi tertentu untuk ya apa namanya kurir, untuk
Iya.
pengemudi, untuk ojol, kan lebih kenal juga, dan mungkin kita bisa langganan atau apalah gitu yang
Iya.
menggunakan cara-cara kerja yang sudah sangat familiar gitu dengan daerah itu. Kayak yang tadi kita sempat ngobrolin gitu,
Iya.
bagaimana dulu ojek pangkalan kan sistemnya antre gitu
Nah,
kan,
iya.
terus di satu tempat, jadi semua harus dapat pokoknya gitu, giliran. Tapi kan dengan apa ya, sistem yang lebih neoliberal di mana semua saling bersaing gitu ya, jadinya itu kan hilang ya, di mana
Iya.
apa ya, sistem-sistem yang lebih apa ya,
Ya,
mengupayakan keadilan lah
Keadilan,
kan. Nah, mungkin
Like, I guess if you try to be, try to scrutinize this a bit, like, of course, like I'm in favor of something that is more community based, and in regards to say how they could compete in terms of pricing, maybe even if say they could keep their rates the same, but in this case they don't have to pay the app commission, because then we don't have a platform company here. The platform company and the drivers are indistinguishable. They all have a stake in it. They have skin in the game. So in that case, maybe then they could compete, and they have an edge, so to say, by promoting the fact that they are more community based. They are made by drivers for drivers, not for some faceless investors, let's say, faceless shareholders, or let's say, let's galvanize our nationalism by saying that it's not like the money is not for the benefit of foreign investors, foreign entities. We can use that to our angle, to our benefit, given that we have the technology to do it, the know-how. Maybe we do. I think we do. I'd like to believe that we do. But again, like Dave mentioned, I've hinted at, due to the neoliberal system that we have, that encourages competition, race to the bottom and all that, and individualism as well, which is especially prevalent in white-collar groups, which includes tech people. Of course, you can just slap them higher pay and bye, they're gone. You won't see them doing anything altruistic. It's really rare to see people doing things for the good of others. It's rare. It's really sad, honestly, especially for the most competent people. You don't really see that. Well,
Mungkin kita bisa berpikir ke arah sana sih, tapi jujur aku nggak punya skill
Iya.
bikin itu sih kalau
Iya.
aku pribadi.
Iya, tapi penting sih untuk mulai kayak benar-benar mempertimbangkan, karena jujur dari tadi kalau kita ngomongin ojol kayak tanda tanya besar sih untuk masa depan mereka gitu, apalagi untuk para pengemudinya gitu, kayak atau bahkan untuk perusahaan itu sendiri gitu.
Iya.
Ketika misalnya ternyata ojol itu digunakan sebagai transisi pekerjaan, bukan kayak pekerjaan jangka panjang, kayak kalau misalnya sekarang perlahan orang udah paham tentang penindasan yang dilakukan platform ini, apakah akan ada yang lebih banyak yang daftar lagi, itu juga jadi kayak tanda tanya besar. Tapi satu sisi kan mungkin karena balik lagi tadi perekonomian kita yang terbatas juga lapangan pekerjaannya, ya orang yang pengangguran akan menerima pekerjaan yang masih menindas juga karena ya keterdesakan tersebut gitu. Kayak karena ya,
yeah, that mentality is very prevalent. That something is better than nothing. Because unfortunately, we don't really have a robust social welfare system. We don't have, we don't have proper welfare scheme to support people who are unemployed or who are underprivileged. So this is again taken advantage by these parasites. I will not stop repeating that, by offering these bullshit pay, and people would still gobble it up because again, something is better than nothing. It's fucked.
ya balik lagi ya, platform capitalism menuju platform socialism dibutuhkan orang-orang selain pengemudi ojol itu sendiri kan untuk berkontribusi.
Dan juga konsumen tentunya.
Nah, iya dan
Iya,
benar banget, dan
yang
juga
mau
konsumen
berkontribusi
gitu.
di dalam
Iya.
sistem ekonomi yang
Salah satu contoh yang sedang diupayakan kan dalam bentuk koperasi kan ada di New York.
Ya.
Ada yang disebut corporate kan.
Ya.
Yang
Yeah, that's what I was showing just now. It's based in, is it in New York? Yeah, it's in New York. Yeah. Oh,
bagaimana sekitar
Cerita dikit mungkin, itu menarik
sekitar
banget.
2000 kalau nggak salah, 2000 pengemudi yang sebelumnya adalah pengemudi Uber,
Oh iya,
pengemudi
diceritain.
Lyft dan lain sebagainya yang potongannya 25%, yang mereka nggak memiliki hak untuk mengambil keputusan dan lain sebagainya. Mereka kemudian membuat koperasi lah. Setelah itu mereka meluncurkan aplikasinya sendiri. Dan mereka kemudian juga menentukan bagaimana nanti menciptakan keadilan bagi semua pengemudi tadi yang sampaikan Mbak Rara akhirnya, yang tidak dibuat sistem algoritma untuk mengkompetisikan mereka, tapi menciptakan kondisi yang adil. Potongan pun nggak lagi 25%, tapi hanya di bawah 10%, dan juga berbagai cara yang lain. Nah, ide-ide seperti itu yang menurutku sangat-sangat penting dan juga bisa digunakan bahkan juga konteks di Indonesia ya. Karena sekarang kalau nggak salah data yang baru sudah ada sekitar 30-an atau 40-an
Apa tuh?
aplikasi yang dikelola oleh pengemudi ojol itu. Ada di New York, ada di Italia, di Bologna, Romana itu, ada di Bogota dan juga Kanada dan juga yang lain sebagainya.
Oh, itu bisa dijadiin case study.
okay, that's worth looking into. If it's not just in New York, like I imagine that, especially European countries where collective action is more encouraged or is more of the norm, that there would be these type of community-based apps developed, because their actions are not solely driven by materialistic pursuit. There's more to life than that to them. And I imagine for us, I still see that amongst middle to low class, middle to low income. That, I mean, we're kind of seeing that amongst white collar workers, that they have a identity crisis. Although because they've been shielded from reality for too long, sometimes what they do is like out of touch. But, well, I mean, yeah, there's like a whole nother tangent. Let's just focus on this so we can finish this video.
Case study sih ya. Maksudnya harus dikontekstualisasi sih sama Indonesia. Dan tentunya di Indonesia mungkin ada konsumennya itu sih. Karena kan berarti harganya akan harga yang lebih adil. Dalam artian mungkin lebih mahal daripada yang sekarang ada gitu hari ini.
Soalnya gue ingat juga pas baca tentang itu tuh, yang ex Uber itu yang mendorongnya justru bukan dari pengemudinya, tapi justru dari software engineer-nya. Yang ngerasa bahwa algoritma ini brengsek banget nih.
Yeah, it's actually one of the former directors of Uber who initiated the project, was one of the founders. And they partner up with two other people. One of them, I forgot, one of them was a former Uber driver, and another one was someone, I forgot who it was, forgot what their position was. But yeah, and again, I think that's one of the centerpiece that's probably missing. Like, sure, we can have a lot of drivers who have that aspiration to have their own app that are more just, that are fair for in terms of how they treat the drivers. But we need a software engineer. We need someone who can maintain the servers. And it's quite rare amongst tech people, amongst people that are in more white-collar industries, in Indonesia that is, who would be willing to do that. When their mentality, like it's not rare to come across people who would say, I would rather work in other countries because they pay me better than working in Indonesia. Why do I want to work in Indonesia? I don't give a fuck about Indonesia. And that's sad. That's sad. Really sad.
Gitu. Oke, saya pengen bikin yang lebih baik untuk kita semua,
manusiawi,
lebih manusiawi untuk kita semua, dan juga sistem kerja platform itu sendiri yang lebih adil gitu ya.
Iya.
Nah,
Tapi itu tuh nggak tahu, aku ngerasa juga ini isu yang jauh lebih besar dan lebih kompleks, kayak misalnya maksudnya dengan kesenjangan yang ada juga keterpinggiran ekonomi yang terjadi gara-gara pandemi, orang jadi memang menginginkan diskon dan membutuhkan potongan-potongan itu gitu untuk bisa menggunakan jasa ojol kan. Apalagi misalnya setiap hari dia naik ojek terus atau ojol maksudnya terus untuk pemandu moda gitu kali ya. Nah, jadi isu itu juga menjadi penghambat adanya mungkin konsumen yang lebih siap dengan sistem yang lebih adil, ngerti gak sih? Jadi kayak kamu rela nggak bayar 50.000 gitu buat sekali menaik ojol untuk jarak mungkin cuma 5 kilo gitu. Itu kan maksudnya pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang
that's definitely an issue as well, because like when you think about it, the people who largely rely on using these online drivers, they themselves don't exactly live a lavish life. Those who do have a huge amount of disposable income, they would rather use their own car. And in all likelihood, they have their own car. They would only use online drivers for emergencies. So, yeah, and the incentives for these people who are struggling themselves within their own regard, they would simply seek the ones that have the best price. If they're cheaper, then they would buy them, regardless of their acknowledgement of the unjust treatment that the providers do to their workers, or the exploitation that are part of their production process. That's why that's why there comes the meme, there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. Because people would just seek to optimize their consumption based on their own constraints and whatnot.
Jadi cukup lebih besar gitu permasalahannya.
Jadinya itu kelihatan banget bagaimana ini race to the bottom-nya, lomba-lomba menuju bawahnya itu sebenarnya lebih besar lagi kita semua gitu. Karena misalnya pekerja kantoran dibayarnya UMR yang sangat rendah gitu. Terusnya mereka akhirnya membutuhkan diskon ojolnya itu, dengan katanya membutuhkan ketertindasan ojolnya itu agar dia pun bisa hidup di batasan ketertindasan.
There you go. He pretty much sum up what I just said.
Iya gitu kan ya. Bagaimana eksploitasi melahirkan eksploitasi baru dan lain sebagainya.
Karena kan ya aku ngeliat, kalau aku orangnya yang karena aku cukup males download aplikasi-aplikasi baru, jadi aku pakai yang nyaman aja, yang udah biasa aku pakai satu gitu, jadi nggak yang lain. Tapi kan ada teman-teman karena mungkin keterdesakan ya tadi ya, mereka terhimpit gitu, mereka akan cari semua aplikasi, cari yang paling banyak diskonnya dan tapi aku jadi mikir, ini kan yang kita lakuin dalam keseharian kita ya dengan platform capitalism ya, bukan cuma ojol tapi yang lain-lain juga gitu.
Capitalism.
Iya, capitalism ini gimana ya kalau menurut Mas Arif sendiri ke depannya dengan sistem ekonomi kita yang kayak gini gitu. Kita semua bergantung juga pada sistem yang bobrok gitu dan mengeksploitasi.
Ya kalau
pertanyaannya besar banget.
Silakan tesisnya.
Mana revolusi sosialis?
Disertasi.
Kayaknya nggak usah jawab deh, disertasi juga.
Ya memang kalau terkait mencari diskon itu memang banyak ya konsumen terutama yang mencari hal itu. Tapi seiring berakhirnya pengetahuan, diskon mulai sangat diturunkan. Kalau sekarang kan yang disoroti oleh kawan-kawan pengemudi adalah ketidakadilan dalam bagi hasil. Contoh Mas Ben atau Mbak Lara pesan orderan antar makanan contohnya. Biaya pengantaran contohnya 12.000. Itu yang diterima pengemudi hanya 6.400.
Wow.
Karena perusahaan memotong dengan banyak, ada biaya platform fee, ada biaya bungkus, ada biaya parkir, ada biaya antri dan juga yang lain sebagainya. Artinya kan mereka mengambil bahkan lebih dari 40%.
Oh, biaya antri gitu itu bukan buat pengemudinya?
Bukan, buat platformnya. Nah ini menjadi problem kalau parkir baru untuk.
Are you kidding me? There is a waiting fee? No way. So hang on a minute. So is it implying that when you say that the rates are high, the drivers still get the same rate? Only the platform gets paid even more. Do you notice that? Like when it's raining really hard, when there's a traffic jam, the money goes to the platform? Is that what's happening? Holy fuck.
Untuk
Iya, iya, iya.
biaya parkir. Tapi untuk platform fee, biaya bungkus, belum lagi mereka mengambil dari pihak restorannya.
Ya.
Ya.
Juga 20%, kadang juga lebih. Nah, ini yang membuat yang dipersoalkan oleh kawan-kawan pengemudi. Artinya yang dipotong begitu besar. Kalau seumpama mereka menganggap kalau 12.000 contoh biaya antar, 11.000 atau 10.000 untuk mereka merasa sudah cukup paling nggak sudah lumayan lah
Iya,
dibanding ketika hanya kadang
6.000.
nunggu makanan jadi 1 jam nganter cuma dibayar 6.400.
Iya,
Mereka kenapa nggak 10.000, kenapa nggak 11.000?
Iya.
Artinya mereka nggak harus untuk memperjuangkan kondisi yang lebih baik, nggak harus kita harus membayar lebih besar lagi, contoh sampai 30.000, mungkin di kisaran 20.000 itu
Iya,
sudah cukup untuk mereka. Itu paling nggak hanya butuh 10 orderan, mereka sudah bisa hidup
I see.
lumayan lah dengan kondisi saat ini. Kalau sekarang dengan tarif sekarang mereka membutuhkan harus 30 orderan. Bayangkan aja 30 orderan kerja sampai 12 jam, kerja sampai 14 jam. Itu yang membuat mereka juga rentan mengalami sakit.
Iya.
Karena kelelahan,
Iya,
bisa kecelakaan di jalan.
Iya, iya.
Ada yang sakit saraf kejepit karena sering
Iya,
duduk naik motor dan juga sakit-sakit yang lain. Nah, ini yang
Iya,
menjadi
iya.
Dan pastinya juga BPJS mereka sendiri yang
iya, BPJS juga mereka sendiri yang
Oke, berarti klasik juga ya persoalannya di mana ya bagi hasilnya
Iya.
tidak adil gitu.
Iya. Yang agak paling menurutku pribadi ya yang sedikit bikin kesal lagi ya, itu adalah kesejahteraan ojol ini, pengemudi ojol itu juga dilimpahkan ke kita dengan bentuk tip gitu.
Nah, ya.
Jadi
Iya, iya.
itu bahwa
Iya.
balik lagi ini tuh bukan tanggung jawab struktur yang lebih besar atau platformnya, tapi adalah satu tanggung jawab si pengemudinya dan pengendaranya itu sendiri gitu. Dengan kebaikan si pengendaranya gitu. Jadi juga nggak pasti juga gitu kesejahteraan mereka pun gitu.
Karena selalu sih kalau misalnya kalau nganterin ke bandara yang jauh-jauh gitu kan, suka nanya gitu, Mbak bayar berapa gitu sekian. Oh, saya dapat segini dari situ. Itu jadi gak enak kan, jadi kayak oh berarti harus ngetip. Tapi jadi kayak kenapa jadi semua harus dibebankan ke kita gitu kan. Karena ini kan terjadi di setiap order gitu kan, bukan cuma 1-2 doang gitu.
Ya makanya baik
It really comes down to the fact that philanthropy is not scalable. Welfare is. So whenever I see people make the argument that when they try to push back against taxes for the sake of bolstering the well-being of people with low income, then they would come out and say stuff like, hey, I mean, why am I not allowed to do it voluntarily? I mean, it's not like I don't care about the poor, but I want to do it in my own terms. Why do I have to leave it to the government? But then if that's the case, then we fall into it becomes dependent on the benevolence of the philanthropists themselves. Like, it's like arguing for a monarchy. Like, say someone makes the argument, oh, it's more efficient because it's like it's only one person making the decision. You don't need to negotiate with a lot of people. If that person, and it's a big if that person knows what's best, then we should just leave it to them instead of having them to convince all sorts of people who don't have the same level of understanding. But again, it's a big if, assuming that the person has good intention, assuming that person has a good belief. It only takes one bad seed before then suddenly you have a dictator. Suddenly you have Caligula or people like that. Same thing with philanthropy. Hinging societal well-being on whether or not the wealthy happens to be in a good mood, in a generous mood. Hell no, that's not a sustainable system. Fuck that.
Baik lagi tadi kalau misalnya ternyata pengendaranya sendiri sudah terhimpit, si pengemudinya terhimpit, ini masing-masing kita kayak cuma berbagi menukar duit aja, saling ngasih duit nih ya. Ketimbang ada mereka yang di atas yang duitnya lebih banyak itu yang berbagi ya ini mereka.
Ada data nggak sih kayak bos-bos platform ini tuh penghasilannya berapa banding berapa sama ojol? Karena kan
Oh, don't get me started with that. You don't even need to go to the bosses. Just go to the middle management again. I know, if when you just started, it's still like roughly the same rate as you go to other companies like 5 million, 6 million, stuff like that. But past a certain point, it scales. It's really good. That's why like a lot of people in my industry jump ship to that industry because it pays a hell of a lot better. Which I don't blame them. But again, why aren't the drivers, the literal backbone of the company, not benefiting from it as well? Beats me. Sounds like there's something wrong with that, don't you think?
kalau misalnya kayak
Iya.
Mondragon gitu kan, maksimal tuh berapa manajemen 5 kali?
1 banding 5.
1 banding 5 gitu kan. paling maksimal. Nah, kira-kira ada nggak sih, atau kita bisa ngakses nggak sih
By the way,
transparansi?
Mondragon itu adalah
Koperasi.
satu koperasi.
Federasi koperasi.
Ya, federasi koperasi di Spanyol.
Jadi ada transparansi soal penghasilan terbesar sama terkecil gitu.
If you are a member of that cooperative, though, don't forget about that. If you're an outsourced worker, which is one of the shortcomings of Mondragon, let's call it that. Yeah, you don't get the same treatment. And that's unfortunate. It's like past a certain point, you can't just have one good cooperative. You need a systemic level of promotion of cooperatives. They need to be the dominant force or form of business. What are you doing? Hello? You okay? Like, I just decided to leave my lap. Okay, then let's continue. So yeah, a lot of people have started to distance themselves from Mondragon. It's like a relic, so to say. I mean, it's still a great example of how a worker cooperative could reach such a scale. But once you actually get into the details, as it turns out, well, past a certain point, you still have to follow the incentives developed by the capitalistic system, which is unfortunate. I guess if you want to be very charitable to this outcome, you could say that means we need to further encourage the development of cooperatives. We need a societal change which incentivize people to distance themselves from exploitative systems, very hierarchical structure, encouraging cooperation, stuff like that, reducing individualism, if not shaming people who are only individualistically driven, stuff like that.
Kalau seperti itu masih belum ada, tapi yang kalau terkait masalah kekayaan ya, itu kekayaan dari contoh Nadiem Makarim lah. Itu kan hanya dalam waktu 5 tahun, 2015 sampai 2020 kalau nggak salah, itu naik 300 kali lipat.
Oh, saya baca tuh di mana waktu itu di surat kabar
Ya,
pernah
di
ada.
briefing ya. Dari yang berapa sampai berapa. Sementara
Oops. Ojol. Mike, I just unplugged the headset. Sorry. Okay.
kalau pengemudi, ya itu tadi, sekarang udah susah untuk makan sehari-hari aja susah. Bahkan kalau sekarang, kalau contoh kita temui pengemudi kan seringkali motornya bahkan sudah nggak layak. Karena mereka nggak ada biaya untuk memperbaiki motornya, untuk menservis rutin atau untuk mengganti karena usianya sudah tua motornya. Mereka nggak ada biaya untuk memperbaiki.
Dan semakin nggak layak ntar bakal di-cut gitu.
Iya. Sementara petinggi-petingginya kenaikan kekayaannya bisa jabati jabatan politik bahkan. Ini menjadi ketidakadilan yang lain, sisi ketidakadilan yang lain.
Iya.
Itu sih yang susah banget akhirnya. Ya ini.
Jadi aku cuma bingungnya itu aja sih, karena di satu sisi aku merasa sebagai konsumen juga terjebak di dalam ini semua gitu, kayak kita nggak bisa langsung mengubah sistemnya atau algoritmanya. Kita hanya punya kita cuma bisa protes mungkin atau ikut dalam mendukung teman-teman ojol yang berkolektif gitu kan.
Konsumen sebenarnya juga secara tidak langsung dipekerjakan.
Oh God. Sorry. She stepped on the keyboard.
Dan dipotong begitu besar. Kalau seumpama mereka menganggap kalau 12.000 contoh biaya antar, 11.000 atau 10.000 untuk mereka.
Berapa banding berapa sama ojol? Karena kan kalau misalnya kayak Mondragon gitu kan, maksimal punya kita cuma bisa protes mungkin atau ikut dalam mendukung.
Sorry, one moment. Oh, sorry, wrong button. Should be the mic.
Teman-teman ojol yang berkolektif gitu kan.
Konsumen sebenarnya juga secara tidak langsung dipekerjakan oleh perusahaan platform.
Gimana?
Karena kita yang mengevaluasi kan.
Oh iya.
Lewat rating.
Kita manajer mereka.
Ya, kita yang mandornya. Kalau di pabrik kan kita mandor. Ini pelayanannya baik nggak? Kalau pelayanannya baik dapat rating 5. Pelayanan buruk dapat rating 1. Kita yang mengevaluasi, membuat secara tidak langsung membuat layanan ini menjadi
mutakhir.
Mutakhir ya.
I think like in Imansi talk, I think it's the founder or the director, Gian Margianta, he mentioned that the way that these platforms are designed, it almost they try to pit us, the consumers, against the drivers, the merchants, by setting up these incentive schemes to be at each other's throat, essentially. So like we already established like how exploitative the platforms are against these drivers. But at the same time, like us as a consumer, because due to our almost divine power to determine the future of these drivers. Like if they mess up just one time, you can just give 1 star and ta-da, suddenly these drivers are suspended. When that happens, then there suddenly becomes this bickering, this fight between the drivers and the consumers. When in fact, like the enemy is the platform companies. They're the ones who create this system that, again, pit us against one another. So like, how should I put it? Like sometimes I just wish people are more understanding. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like that is why like even though like Rara said that we don't exactly have a lot of power, like individually as a consumer, we don't really have a lot of power in terms of affecting change, in terms of improving the well-being of these drivers. You can tip, of course, and I would still encourage you to tip if you can, if you happen to have the disposable income to do so. I myself try to do so, but sure, knowing even though like it doesn't really affect change, but at the same time, at least you have the awareness of that. There's still that part of we should never gloss over the importance of awareness, especially in our society where, again, individualism has crept up into our lives to a point that we normally just don't care. We only care about our own well-being, our own future, that we just dismiss other people. We don't really put ourselves in other people's shoes. And yeah, I guess like ideally, at the very least, I hope that whenever you see these drivers go on strikes or protesting, you don't complain about it, I guess, for lack of better terms. Like, and I see that, thankfully, at least within my circle. I don't know about other circles though. Like I can see if, like, I don't know, if you're a very self-indulgent person, let's say, if you're an asshole, you would say, and say, why are these drivers always complaining? Now look at me, I cannot get to my appointment on time, or stuff like that. Or I can't get my package on time. It's like shit like that. At least spend like 5 minutes like thinking about why they were protesting. Fucking hell, man. Anyway, okay, sorry. That was really rambly. Let us finish the video again. I keep pausing.
Apa lebih baik lah.
Iya.
Ketika ada yang jelek, di rating jelek. Selain juga tadi yang disampaikan Mas Ben dan Mbak Rara, kita juga seolah-olah ikut berdosa ketika pengemudi ojol ini tadi pendapatan rendah, diperlakukan tidak adil, kita dipaksa untuk muncul ngasih tip ke ojol. Padahal kan tip sendiri kan tidak menyelesaikan persoalan. Karena persoalannya tadi kan persoalan yang struktural, persoalan yang disebabkan oleh perusahaan platform. Dan solusinya tidak solusi individual. Solusinya adalah mengubah cara kerja platform, mengubah struktur ini supaya menjadi menciptakan kondisi yang lebih baik lah ke pengemudi.
Berarti itu harus tekanan dari luar ya, maksudnya kalau selama ini kan ada mediasi atau apa dengan perusahaan-perusahaan itu sendiri kayak agak mentok ya kalau aku lihat.
Ya, basis mereka adalah keuntungan untuk mereka gitu.
Iya. Jadi kira-kira gimana ya? Ada kemungkinan nggak sih kita bisa mengubah atau cuman lebih ke ya udah membuat cara-cara alternatif platform apa tadi?
Platform sosialis.
Maksudnya ya, atau emang harus gitu beralih ke sana?
Ya, sebenarnya strategi kan bisa ada berbagai cara ya. Ada yang juga untuk mendorong regulasi itu tadi. Artinya yang sebelumnya membiarkan atau bahkan menjustifikasi praktek ketidakadilan itu ya dilakukan pemerintah membiarkan. Makanya pengemudi sekarang kan banyak disasar adalah aksinya ke pemerintahan. Karena itu regulator itu yang memiliki semacam kewenangan, memiliki semacam fungsi untuk mengatur tata kelola ini, untuk memastikan kejelasan klasifikasi mereka contohnya. Apakah benar-benar mereka ini mitra enggak sih? Kalau enggak mitra, kalau enggak memiliki hak setara ya udah dijadiin pekerja.
Itu ada diskusinya sih di ranah regulasi gitu.
Ya, diskusi makanya muncul berbagai protes untuk mendiskusikan itu karena pemerintah selama ini kan cenderung lempar tangan.
Oke.
Kementerian Ketenagakerjaan nggak mau ikut campur. Karena merasa klasifikasi pengemudi bukan pekerja. Bukan
Iya.
kewenangan mereka lepas. Tapi alih-alih mereka berupaya untuk mengklasifikasikan kan. Apakah ini layak disebut mitra nggak sih? Harusnya kan seperti itu.
Iya.
Kalau nggak layak disebut mitra kan pekerja ya udah tanggung jawab kemudian Ketenagakerjaan. Kalau sekarang kan kemudian Ketenagakerjaan nggak mau tahu. Ya penting klasifikasinya sebagai mitra ya udah bukan tanggung jawab mereka. Nah ini menjadi problem juga.
Kemarin sempat hampir sukses mendorong regulasi baru mengenai tarif. Tapi kan tadi sempat ngobrol katanya udah kehambat 2 kali nih. Apa sih yang menjadi permasalahannya sendiri? Soalnya tadi dengar juga kayak bahkan ojolnya sendiri yang ada yang kurang setuju dalam hal itu dan lain sebagainya gitu.
Iya, karena memang sebenarnya kan kenaikan tarifnya sebenarnya nggak seberapa. Bahkan yang naik tarifnya per kilometer hanya di Jabodetabek.
Jadi di Jogja enggak gitu.
Di Jogja yang naik hanya tarif dasar. Tarif dasar yang sebelumnya kan kita contoh order
minimum
Ya minimum order yang sebetulnya 0 sampai 4 sekarang dinaikin 0 sampai 5 kilo.
Oh,
oke.
iya.
Kalau di Jabodetabek baru naik ya, dari tarif bawahnya itu Rp2.250 per kilometer menjadi Rp2.600 per kilometer. Itu pun muncul banyak penolakan. Dan saya melihat penolakannya cenderung mengabaikan ketidakadilan yang dilakukan oleh platform. Karena mereka menolak, terutama yang para pengemudi ini takut ketika tarif bayaran pengemudi naik, maka konsumen akan nggak pakai layanan ojol lagi. Sehingga pendapatan mereka menurun. Sementara yang kawan-kawan yang lain yang lebih kritis melihat bahwa yang nggak apa-apa bayaran naik, tapi potongan yang dilakukan oleh perusahaan platform ini diturunkan, sehingga biaya konsumen nggak naik tetap. Kalau sekarang kan rata-rata contoh di Jakarta kita pesen ojol itu kan rata-rata 14.000 biaya dasarnya. Itu yang masuk ke pengemudi hanya 9.600, yang masuk ke perusahaan 4.400. Dengan tarif yang baru, tarif minimal itu adalah 13.000 untuk yang wajib diterima oleh ojol. Itu kan bisa aja kemudian tarif biaya ke konsumen tetap aja 14.000. Dengan pengemudi yang ambil 1.000, tapi pengemudi kan perusahaan platform nggak mau ambil cuma 1.000. Jadi mereka pasti pengen mengambil lebih banyak. Contoh dipasang tarif biaya ke konsumen 19.000 ke 20.000 sehingga mereka dapat 7.000. Nah itu yang tidak dikritisi oleh yang menolak kenaikan bayaran ini. Malah mereka menyalahkan Kementerian Perhubungan yang menaikkan bayaran bagi pengemudi. Menganggap bahwa ini akan menciptakan membuat mereka sepi order konsumen.
That's a good point. Like, it's not a zero-sum game. Well, in this case, it is a loss for the platform companies. But as we've established, they've had enough. They're taking enough. Sure, they're not profitable, but I'm pretty sure there are many ways that they could really optimize their finances. Wouldn't you say? Their middle management and their founders as well, their CEOs and whatnot. So yeah, ideally that would be the case. But I don't know. I mean, you can definitely rely on the state, but there are limitations now. And I'm not sure that, I mean, I don't know, like from a business perspective, I guess I could do a hiring freeze, like what's been popularized these days. Or, yeah, just basically cut the pay, man. Like, they don't need that much. Like, jeez. I don't know. Like, I'd like to believe. Well, no, I don't like to believe, actually. No. I refuse to believe that whenever someone says that, why do they need that much money? Then their response would be, well, it's because you haven't had that much money. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what they're good for. I don't agree with that. It only shows how malleable you are to, again, materialistic endeavors, which I understand if people are tempted by it because our society rewards those type of behaviors. They worship them. So again, as always, it ends up to the need for societal change, systemic changes, and so on and so forth ad infinitum. Which, like, I can get why sometimes people would get tired of that. Like, oh, it's the system, oh, it's the system, oh, it's the system. And sometimes if you fall into that habit and you start feeling jaded, that's where doomerism comes, because then you don't feel agency. That's why, like, every now and then, just make sure that you could identify things that you could do at an individual level. Because, yeah, if you feel like you're powerless against the powers that be, then, yeah, that's where you become hopeless. That's when you give up on your principles. That's when you fall into the dark side, I guess, for lack of a better term. Again, oh God, okay, 50, right? 10 more minutes, come on, we can do it, come on.
Ya mungkin secara relasi kuasa mereka juga ngerasa di bawah gitu. Maksudnya kan tetap mereka yang memberi pekerjaannya. Jadi kalau mereka nggak diuntungkan, mungkin mereka juga nggak dapat pekerjaan, ngerti nggak sih gitu. Jadi pendisiplinan itu sangat real juga merasuki juga di sisi itu sih.
Dan akhirnya sikut-sikutan antar sesama. Jadi permasalahannya itu konflik horizontal gitu kan.
Dan maksudnya kalau kita lihat sisi lain gitu, teman-teman anak-anak muda yang kerja di startup-startupnya juga kan mungkin apa ya? Aku sih melihat ada narasi besar ekonomi kreatif atau ekonomi baru, whatever, industri
Startup,
kreatif atau
industri
apa.
4.0.
Oh ya, 4.0 itu tuh di mana digadang-gadangkan banget kan si startup culture segala macam ini gitu ya. Jadinya juga ada semacam apa ya, pilih kasih kali ya. Jadi yang kerja di startup sebagai pegawai, pekerja itu diutamakan, diprioritaskan dan mungkin sekarang mereka bisa dibilang anak-anak muda gajinya bisa 2 digit segala macam gitu ya untuk Jakarta dan kota-kota besar. Sementara backbone dari industri itu yang adalah ojol misalnya atau kurir gitu ya. Kalau yang
Thank you for making my point. I'm glad someone agrees with me. And again, phrasing it exactly like I did. These drivers, these couriers, are the backbone of these companies, and that they're not rewarded as if they're your backbone. Like again, your backbone. Like I'm using an ergonomic chair because I care about my backbone. I realize the importance of my backbone. And I already have a curvature, so I'd rather take care of it. Because again, it's my backbone. It's what's keeping me up. Literally. If only these businesses have the same understanding. Pretty weird how those working at these companies getting paid really good money while the drivers aren't. Exactly, boo-boo. Odd, isn't it? Of course, then these people would argue that, it's because, it's the market, because there's more limited supply of these qualified white-collar laborers. That's why they have higher bargaining power. That's why they're paid more. Fuck off. Just say that these drivers are disposable to you. Just be honest. Just say that you don't see them as human. You only see them as numbers, as inputs, as, money, as profit. Jesus.
Aplikasi jual beli gitu ya. Itu yang dikorbankan gitu aku melihatnya. Itu apa ya? Dan ketika misalnya teman-teman yang bekerja tidak punya pemahaman atau kesadaran kelas gitu bahwa ada yang tereksploitasi gila-gilaan di bawah, ini nggak pernah bisa ketemu sih. Maksudnya nggak ada engineer kayak yang di New York itu untuk bilang kayak kita butuh cara yang lebih adil deh untuk melakukan ini. Itu akan sulit sekali ketemu karena ya aku ngerasanya gitu. Sedangkan mungkin teman-teman yang peneliti atau ada aktivis ojol nggak sih? Ada kali ya. Bapak Arief Novianto ini aktivis ojol, kesejahteraan ojol. Maksudnya yang peduli gitu ada mungkin di tengahan nggak kerja buat platform ini, tapi juga bukan ojol gitu, hanya menerima iklan-iklannya saja dan tergabung di grup-grup WhatsApp gitu kan. Jadi aku ngerasa ada disconnect juga soal itu. Jadi mungkin perlu lagi ya pendidikan atau pengetahuan yang lebih interseksional juga kali ya untuk
sulit muncul solidaritas di antara sebenarnya kan sama-sama pekerjaannya Gojek, walaupun ada yang gajinya 2 digit, ada yang kerjanya nggak sesulit pengemudi, tapi gara-gara sistem itu jadi solidaritasnya menjadi susah muncul lintas, bahkan di antara yang pengemudi pun solidaritasnya juga sulit karena tadi dipecah-pecah, jadi ini nih tanggung jawab individu, jadi ini.
And also the fact that they've already bought into that fantasy that one day if I work hard enough I can be just like them. And that's why, they just don't care. Like, whenever you offer, a solution, a proposition that, hey, there's a potential where you can have a more equitable society. And if they happen to be those that are more privileged, that it comes at their privilege, they would say no. Some of them are honest enough to say no. I respect that. But fuck those people. Goddamn. Because again, that's why there needs to be more societal push that discourages materialistic pursuit. All of this about flexing, all this about worshiping brands and flaunting your wealth and stuff like that, and living a glamorous life, these exorbitant expenses, seeing them as something worth admiring instead of just cringing. Yeah. There's still a lot to do. And yeah, I do agree, Boo Boo. It's funny how the youngins can get paid double digits and all. And not just double digits. They still count as double, but in a middle level of double digits, I guess. Close to 50. Fuck.
Solidaritas, ngebangun solidaritas itu sih.
Iya, tapi ini akhirnya kelihatan banget bagaimana sistem sosiokultural politik ekonomi kita tuh udah cukup berhasil membangun satu sistem yang mensegregasi, mengatomisasi kita lah kalau pakai bahasa kerennya gitu, kayak terindividualisasi kita semua gitu ya. Bagaimana pekerja yang di kantoran itu berbeda dengan pekerja yang di jalanan.
Masih ya, white collar.
Iya, white collar, blue collar,
Green
collar, gitu.
Green collar.
Iya. Gitu kan. Terus ya, itu yang akhirnya kayak nggak, seakan-akan tuh nggak ada apa ya, titik temu sama sekali antara pekerja kantoran dengan pekerja jalanan gitu ya. Dan itu sebenarnya yang menyedihkan, padahal mereka pun sebenarnya cukup tereksploitasi dalam banyak hal juga gitu.
Iya. Selain itu juga aku merasa menjadi ojol tuh hari ini kayak harus jadi entrepreneur gitu. Kenapa? Aku ngeliat bagaimana mereka menggunakan media sosial ya untuk ngepromosiin jasa mereka. Itu maksudnya udah kerjanya mungkin 24 jam, kontennya juga harus kencang gitu. Jadi ada yang mengonten, ada yang bikin di TikTok, kan ada yang aktif di TikTok seharian sebagai ojol gitu ya.
Di Twitter apa gitu.
Ada yang Twitter bikin thread, ada juga yang cerita-cerita tentang pengalaman ya mengharukan maupun yang menyedihkan gitu. Yang mengharukannya mungkin ketemu apa namanya, konsumen yang baik hati atau apa. Tapi kadang aku pikir jangan-jangan tuh dibayar juga sama platform. Buat kayak agak sinis ya. Kan ya influencer kan, ya, konsepnya influencer gitu. Tapi ada juga yang kayaknya dari perspektif konsumen gitu ya. Ada juga yang ada juga kritik kayak kurir-kurir yang bilang yang COD gitu, yang cerita kalau kamu nggak akan ada di rumah tuh nggak usah COD gitu, karena pada akhirnya kan dia harus ganti rugi biaya-biayanya dan segala macam. Misalnya itu ada gitu di TikTok, aku menemukan itu, dan semoga itu sampai sih ke calon-calon konsumennya. Cuma itu kan ekstra, itu kan kerja ya, yang tidak ada upahnya gitu. Nah itu makanya aku bilang kayak selain mitra ini dianggap jadi kayak entrepreneur dan
the unfortunate extreme version of this is when you see minimum wage workers having to rely on GoFundMe so that they can get proper healthcare, so that they can pay the next rent. It's really fucked. It's a very grim reality to be in. Like okay, I mean, like I can already imagine if you're in Indonesia and where GoFundMe is a thing and access to social media, to smartphones are more ubiquitous, especially for people with low income, that they would utilize these avenues because again, they just don't have any other alternatives without any proper welfare schemes. And this is fucked. Like, no one should have to rely, like I mentioned, on the good grace of the wealthy in order to have some semblance of a decent life, to meet their basic necessities, to survive. That's no way to live. That's no system that I want to be in. And God forbid that we ever end up in that system, as much as we're peering towards that in each passing day.
Dan sebenarnya cukup mandiri gitu, sebagai pengusaha mandiri aja gitu.
Dan
nggak ada yang melindungi.
Dan ini akhirnya kelihatan banget bagaimana late capitalism atau kapitalisme yang sudah lumayan develop saat ini itu tuh benar-benar sebenarnya bukan hanya sekedar mengindividualisasi, tapi menutupi kerja-kerja itu sendiri gitu, bahwa banyak sekali hal yang kita lakukan itu tidak dibayar gitu.
Adalah sebenarnya kerja.
Padahal kerja gitu, bahkan hal-hal itu ya bahkan tidak dianggap kerja gitu. Jadinya maka dari itu tidak layak untuk dibayar karena bukan sebuah pekerjaan gitu. Dia termasuk tadi mempromokan diri, mempromokan platformnya sendiri atau segala macam gitu.
Tapi ada yang suka ngasih notes, ya kan, notes. Jadi itu kan meninggalkan kesan yang baik, lalu dikontenkan oleh konsumennya, lalu jadi kayak apa ya? Itu kan tipe UMKM banget nggak sih maksudnya? Experience-nya itu loh, user experience.
Ya, ada yang ngasih makanan di mobilnya. Karena memang selain itu kan mereka juga terpengaruh oleh rating dari konsumen. Nah, itu cara mereka agar tadi dapat rating yang bagus sehingga
mandor manajer ya kita kan.
Iya ya, tapi itu tuh harus masuk kan sebenarnya ke biaya produksi. Nah, aku sering lihat kadang kayak nggak dihitung gitu.
Sering kali nggak
dihitung gitu. Maksudnya itu kan bagian dari
semua
produksi.
bebannya kan di resiko bisnis kan selama kan dilimpahkan kan dari perusahaan platform ke pengemudi.
Tapi jujur ya, ini sedih, menyedihkan, bikin kesel, tapi ini satu sisi keren. Semua tanggung jawab yang seharusnya dimiliki oleh perusahaan dialihkan ke pengemudi maupun ke konsumennya. Kita sebagai manajer, sebagai mandornya, kan ya, kita sebagai penanggung jawab kesejahteraan sesama kita juga, dan kemudian si pengemudinya harus bertanggung jawab terhadap kesejahteraan semuanya dia.
Makanya bisa dibilang.
And yet they take the most of the money. They take all the money, not the drivers, especially not the consumers. I think that's pretty obvious. They do. The platform companies do those who work there get those money. The investors do. Pretty fucked, right?
Kan harusnya biayanya nggak terlalu mahal ya. Maksudnya
Also, I find it funny that I think like the camera right now is like trying to focus on them as the day gets a bit dark. That the lens is kind of struggling to remain focused on the subjects here. It's like adjusting with the lighting situation. That's why it's like pulsing. Sorry, funny little tidbit there. I mean, I'm just talking out of my ass in terms of what's happening. I'm just assuming that it has something to do with the growing low light situation that's happening.
Ya,
produksi dari perusahaannya gitu harusnya kan nggak kayak perusahaan konvensional gitu ya. Tapi mungkin aku salah, aku nggak tahu sih.
Iya, itu
Kemana
gimana?
duit
Iya.
itu aku
Iya.
nggak tahu. Maksudnya ya ngebayar pekerjanya pasti, tapi apa ya keuntungannya? Adakah? Apakah platform-platform ini untung? Juga aku nggak tahu sih.
Sejauh ini, ya itu kan jadi pertanyaan besar ya kan ya.
selama ini kan mereka selalu mengkampanyekan tidak untung.
Iya
Kalau kita
sih.
lihat tujuannya kan memang menghindari pajak, menghindari yang lain sebagainya. Karena kalau realitas di lapangan sekarang ya pasti mereka untung. Tapi kan kita nggak pernah tahu berapa laporan keuangan mereka, kan tidak semuanya bisa diakses oleh publik. Nah ini menjadi problemnya, karena memang platform ini kan sendiri kalau kita bisa sebut kan sebagai hanya makelar kan, pihak ketiga.
Iya.
Seperti yang sampaikan Mas Ben tadi kan, yang ngontrol ya konsumen, mandornya, yang menjalankan pengemudinya. Platform hanya memberikan ini, makanya sering disebut sebagai parasit kan.
Iya.
Mereka menempel dan mengambil.
Oh God. Pre-cock. I didn't pre-watch. He used the same term, parasite. Thank you, Arif. Thank you for agreeing with me.
Mengambil persentase dari situ dan lain sebagainya. Makanya ketika platform tidak ada pun aktivitas ini tetap bisa berjalan.
Iya sih.
Iya.
Cuma mungkin kurang nggak
Ya,
seefisien
nggak
atau
seefisien ketika ada
Efektif
platform.
gitu. Wow.
Wow.
Ini. Wow, kita berarti ya berlomba-lomba menuju neraka semua ya ini.
Enggak sih. Nah, mungkin harus ada bahasa tentang harapannya
Iya,
gitu.
kita selalu menutup benang merah dengan apa ya? Depresi gitu ya.
Nggak boleh.
Nah, ada harapan.
Iya, harus ada sedikit.
Ya mungkin harapan nggak tahu apa yang ditemukan dari kan sekarang banyak yang berserikat gitu ya, ojol dan berkolektif. Kira-kira apa sih yang dilihat dari apa yang Mas Arif lihat dari mereka yang kayaknya ini bisa jadi awal dari
Presiden
sesuatu
yang bagus gitu.
presiden yang baik untuk mengubah lah cara kerja eksploitatif ini.
Ya kalau yang saya lihat memang harapan ke depan ya semakin hari semakin dari demi hari kan memang banyak pengemudi yang kemudian bergabung ke organisasi. Muncul beberapa serikat yang terbaru, SPAI, Serikat Pekerja Angkutan Indonesia. Itu kan cukup kritis, bahkan
Oh ya?
sekarang satu-satunya serikat yang berupaya mendorong bahwa pengemudi tidak lagi sebagai mitra, tapi sebagai pegawai, pekerja perusahaan platform. Tuntutan mereka seperti itu. Ada juga berbagai serikat atau organisasi yang lain. Nah itu menjadi semacam hal positif ya.
Ya.
Di tengah semakin rentannya mereka, kondisi kerja yang tidak adil, tapi semakin banyak pengemudi yang mulai sadar bahwa untuk memperjuangkan kondisi kerja yang lebih baik tidak bisa dilakukan dengan cara tadi mengeluh di medsos,
Ya, saja ya.
ya,
nggak
atau
bisa.
kemudian membuat akun anonim dan lain sebagainya, tapi harus berorganisasi, harus berjuang secara bersama-sama, secara kolektif. Sekarang bahkan beberapa organisasi membentuk koalisi nasional.
Wow.
Di roda 2 dan namanya koalisi ojol nasional. Di roda 4 juga sedang berupaya membentuk hal itu. Nah, ini menjadi hal yang positif karena mereka semakin disadarkan oleh keadaan juga
Ya.
untuk berupaya mendorong kondisi kerja yang lebih baik dengan bersatu,
Ya.
solidaritas, menuntut melakukan berbagai perjuangan, bahkan merencanakan aksi mogok nasional. Kalau dulu kan memogokkan hanya tersentral di daerah-daerah, contoh Jogja mogok, nanti besoknya Surabaya mogok. Nah, mereka sedang berupaya merencanakan aksi mogok nasional.
Damn, that's beautiful. Imagine like a general strike of all online drivers, like nationwide. That's beautiful. And again, like it grows from, like in his article, in Arif's article, like wildcat strikes, wildcat protesting in isolated areas and whatnot. And then as they interact with one another, they begin to realize that, hey, we share a common interest. We share a common misery, even. That why don't we collectivize? Why don't we unionize? Why don't we unite? And why don't we unite as one front, as one voice against, well, the platform companies that has been subjugating their lives? And I do hope they succeed. I sincerely hope that they succeed in whatever ways it may be. Hopefully it doesn't have to lead to anything violent, though. But again, it's just beautiful seeing people like suddenly uniting under one cause like this. Like And I admire people like Arif here, who's been keeping up with this development for so long, I imagine. And like raising awareness about these issues as well. And I understand, like, throughout this entire live stream, I've been mentioning his name a lot. It's almost like I'm simping over him, but again, he's kind of like the primary source at the moment for all of the depravities that online drivers have to go through. So that's why I'm citing him a lot. And yeah, again, 4 minutes. Okay, let's go. A bit more, just a little more. We can do this.
Dipenuhi. Atau yang juga go politik, berpikir untuk juga membangun politik alternatif. Nah, ini juga menjadi salah satu alternatif. Atau yang seperti yang tadi kita diskusikan, berupaya membentuk platform sosialis tadi, operasi platform itu juga tengah mereka pikirkan juga. Nah, ini menurut saya menjadi harapan ke depan. Dan tentu harapan ini akan peluangnya semakin besar untuk dimenangkan ketika ada keterlibatan kita lah, akademisi, konsumen, dan juga yang lain yang sadar
Dan juga
tentang
kamu.
itu, dan juga mendengar ya. Untuk bersama-sama, karena kalau tidak seperti itu ya akan sulit. Mereka menjadi dibiarkan seorang diri, padahal kita kadang ikut bertanggung jawab.
Iya. Dan kita membutuhkan. Hidup kita udah sangat bergantung pada platform hari ini.
Justru itu.
Tapi keren banget ya, maksudnya ojol aja berserikat, guys. Kita
Exactly.
harus banyak belajar juga. Maksudnya jangan sampai kita menunggu benar-benar tereksploitasi habis-habisan baru berserikat. Memang butuh sih kita berserikat. Karena aku ngeliat di lini-lini pekerjaan lain juga sebenarnya kan sama-sama terpinggirkan, sama-sama tereksploitasi. Pekerja kreatif juga sama gitu. Pandemi kemarin itu misalnya kru musik segala macam, kru panggung, nggak ada yang dapat pekerjaan satupun. Tapi kan karena tidak berserikat, tidak bisa protes kemana bersama-sama, atau ya udah akhirnya mereka berserah diri gitu dan menerima keadaan itu.
Iya. Kayaknya kita bukan lupa sih, tapi kayak kemarinnya pas lagi diskusi di UGM pun gitu ya, bahwa kayaknya banyak yang dari kita belum paham bahwa permasalahan besar struktural politik ini itu jangan dihadapi sendiri gitu, justru harus dihadapi secara kolektif dan bersolidaritas, membangun suatu upaya kolektif tersebut untuk mengubah juga itu, dan itu kalau dihadapi sendiri ya.
I love how their legs are moving in unison. Sorry, I'm getting distracted here.
Lagi diskusi di UGM pun gitu ya, bahwa kayaknya banyak yang dari kita belum paham bahwa permasalahan besar struktural politik ini itu jangan dihadapi sendiri gitu, justru harus dihadapi secara kolektif dan bersolidaritas, membangun suatu upaya kolektif tersebut untuk mengubah juga itu, dan itu kalau dihadapi sendiri ya susah.
It's like a pebble against a tsunami, as my good friend used to say, likes to say. And yeah, that's totally true. When we're talking about systemic changes, don't do it alone. You could do it alone if you're that powerful, if you're in a position of privilege. But ideally, why? Why should you? If you acknowledge that a systemic change means that it could affect a great number of people, why not bring these people with you as well? It's like it's a very self-aggrandizing perspective to think that you can do it on your own, that you don't need other people. Very self-serving in a way. Anyway.
Pasti depresi sih, karena merasa tidak berdaya kan. Tapi kalau bersama-sama tuh setidaknya kebersamaan itu aja sudah memberikan harapan-harapan dan kekuatan seharian gitu loh. Dan itu aku lihat sih dari kelompok-kelompok ojol itu, karena bahkan mereka punya jaketnya masing-masing, kaosnya. Maksudnya itu tuh berkomunitas tuh tetap penting karena kita makhluk sosial yang butuh belonging. Iya itu juga. Yang butuh belonging gitu, butuh harus tergabung dalam sesuatu untuk merasa bermakna gitu keseharian.
Paling sekian sih dari kami.
Kecuali mau nambahin 200 pertanyaan lagi itu.
Dan saya cuma mari kita berserikat. Kelas bekerja bersatulah.
Bersolidaritas.
Nice.
Langsung muncul bendera gitu.
Masa aksi.
Ya, itu sih seru banget. Terima kasih Mas Arif. Semoga teman-teman dapat sesuatu dan ya kita bisa menggunakan jasa ojol dengan pengetahuan inilah ya. Dan mungkin kita bisa ngelakuin sesuatu ke depannya.
Dukunglah ojol dalam berserikat.
Menurut hanya. Terima kasih.
Udah semuanya.
Udah deh.
Udah? Nggak, tadi nggak record.
Wow, that's such a good conversation. I love that. I really enjoyed that. Hang on. Can I leave a like, please? Hello? Oh, there it is. Here we go. Like, they deserve way more subscribers. Like, holy shit, this is so cool. Wow. Okay. Oh, shit. That took longer than expected. I think I covered that for 2 hours or something. 1.5 hours. Let's say 1.5 hours. And yeah, it's a really good conversation. really delve deeper into things, and it's good that both Rara and Benny, I think it's Benny, right? Fuck, I keep forgetting the name. Benny? No, it's not Benny. Is it Benny? Where are you? Where's the name? Ben, not Benny, Ben. Well, Ben, Benny, close enough. It's like literally the first line. I didn't read the first line. Yeah, it's a very good conversation, and seeing that there's this kind of mutual understanding between Ben and Rara, it's great. You know, that's why I like how they kind of bounce off one another. It's pretty in sync in a way, and it makes a great conversation. We really get to learn a lot about the plights of what the drivers have to go through, the fact that these platform companies are basically parasites sucking the life out of them, despite them growing from within each passing year. They keep growing, and yet they only make lives harder for these drivers. It's beyond me, and I appreciate how they acknowledge the difficulties of enacting change as well, that it does require a systemic change, that whether you like it or not, you need to push the government to do something about it, to legislate something in favor of these drivers. And also, like, I hope that for the people who did manage to watch this, whether it is this video or that video, and by the way, I encourage that if you happen to stumble upon this video, give them a watch as well. Like, watch them in the background while listening to my reaction. Something like that, you know, so you boost their views as well, even though they're larger than me, but still, you know, something worth noting when reacting to other people's content. And yeah, I don't know. I got really riled up reacting to the conversation. Maybe because we watched the video after seeing tons of coverage on the topic as well. So there's like a lot of energy that's pent up already, seeing how these drivers are getting fucked up left and right. And yeah, and I'm glad that they raised the point that these drivers, again, I think it was Rara who said that, right? That these drivers are the backbone of these companies. And yet, it pales in comparison to what the white-collar workers are getting, the management are getting, the investors are getting. And also, like, at a systemic level, that we are essentially pitted against one another. That's also a nice touch there by Ben, I think. That, yeah, that our system is so self-sustaining, as parasitic as it may be, that we are, what's the term? It's already been ingrained within us to be predatory against one another, to only prioritize our own self-interest. And that's unfortunate, to say the least. Anyway, I think I will definitely upload this reaction separately. Like, I'll probably come up with a more coherent conclusion. I'll record it separately. I'll do the same. I'm planning to do the same for loaner box abortion video, and shouldn't be too long, like 3-5 minutes outro, so to say, to summarize the conversation. And I think that would make a good video, because like I want to actually do something about these live streams. When I watch or react to videos like this, I want to do something about it. I want to upload them so that it's not just lost into the vacuum, so to say, because like most people don't exactly watch live streams like this, I think. At least not right now, not where I'm at the moment. So yeah, I guess we'll see in the future, huh? Should be doable. Yeah. Okay. It's been a pretty long stream, apparently. Almost 4 hours. I thought it was going to be a short one. A shorter one. I thought like 3 hours or something. But here we are. So, let's play some music as we slowly peer towards the end. Oh, we need to reduce the volume again. Yeah, there you go. I'm really parched. What did we learn today? Quite a lot, I think. My voice. So, we learned about the new tariff. That's one. And the struggle of reaching that point as well. That turns out it's been delayed twice, and also that initially the Ministry of Transportation didn't hold their end of the arguments, end of the bargain. They didn't hold their end of the bargain by not implementing it within, what is it? Not 10 days. 10 working days since the regulation is ratified. Instead, it was extended after the whole protests, which includes, again, stitching their mouths, which, as grotesque as that might be, it's understandable. Like, sometimes, as unfortunate as it may be, those viral things, that's what gets people's attention. And when you get people's attention, that's when the government will listen to you. If you don't create a ruckus, then they'll just turn a blind eye. That's just the incentive schemes that we have at the moment in terms of our democratic process. That's why, like, you see a lot of times, like, cases would only get properly handled by law enforcement if we make them viral on Twitter, on Instagram, on social media, essentially. Without it, they don't care. They don't have the incentives to do so because they're only there because it pays well. Or it's to satisfy their deluded power fantasy, or some shit like that. It's, yeah. Again, I try. I acknowledge, like, referring back to the talk, that things are fucked in a lot of ways, but it's always important to end on a high note. And that we shouldn't drown ourselves with all of these negativity without any proper recourse or like have anything to hold on to. In my case, it's gaming. I can play games, or I watch entertaining stuff. I watch playthroughs or stuff like that. You can play games, you can watch movies, you can exercise, stuff like that. I don't really buy into this mentality that, oh, if you're an activist, then every day and every hour and every day you need to live like an activist, fighting for the cause and not leaving any moments to yourselves. I think that's like a sure way to an early grave, because it's difficult, man. You shouldn't do that to yourself. And again, you're not alone. I think that's one thing that needs to be emphasized here. You're not alone. That if you expose yourself enough to more environments, to more people, you would find like-minded people that other people also care. They're also pushing for the same thing. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing to discover. To find solidarity, to find unity with other people, people who find meaning in similar ways, is wonderful. And that's something worth holding on to. That's something worth living for. And while changes won't come tomorrow, next month, next year, or even within your lifetime, keep fighting the good fight. I think that's what I would say. Why am I saying all this? Why am I rambling about this? Let's end the stream. Alright, next stream, I'm not sure what I'm going to cover. There's like tons of backlog in my content fodder, there is this video from Tempo. It's like essentially a group of people, including Faisal Basri, talking about the future of our fuel subsidy, and what to do about it. I think that'll be interesting to listen to, maybe while playing Elden Ring. I guess we'll see. Maybe next Thursday. Yeah. We'll see where my mood ends up in. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. If you happen to stop by, make sure to leave a like. That would help out the video and my channel, I guess. And leave us subscribe if you like. As you might probably notice, most of my content are gaming, but hey, I like to dabble in a bit of politics. That's why I should probably change my YouTube banner soon. Like gaming with a pinch of politics. I think that's like a more catchy thing to say instead of an epicenter of unintelligible, improbable, straight out an epicenter for overly convoluted, straight out unintelligible banters. Something like that. Yeah, even I don't remember what my YouTube banner is, which is also my Twitter bio and my Instagram bio. Anyway. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next one. I need to grab a drink and I need to sleep. Good night, and always, Boo Boo. Thank you. Good stream as always. Thank you, Boo Boo. Thank you for watching. Okay, we'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye bye. Bye bye now. Bye bye.